Chapter 514. P.S. The 20th guild leader has been born, and the guild leader knows everything. Of course not. Zhang Lingfeng immediately puffed out his chest and patted it hard. I don't believe it. There are still 2 more princesses in the imperial residence of King An. I will definitely get the right one. Go. Qi Zimo waved his hand. Don't cause trouble. Don't complicate matters. Yes. Zhang Lingfeng floated away. Zhao Jiang shook his head and said, You shouldn't have let him go. It would have been better to let Li Gu go. Li Gu's qigong is still a notch below Lingfeng's. Qi Zimo looked at Li Gu. Isn't that right? Yes. Li Gu said calmly, My qigong is indeed inferior to junior brother Zhang. I'm really worried about him. Zhao Jiang shook his head and sighed. What if he catches the wrong person again? There are 3 princesses in total. How can he capture all of them wrongly? Qi Zimo laughed. You are underestimating Ling Feng too much. I hope so. Zhao Jiang shook his head and looked at Song Luiying. Princess Song, please forgive us. We don't want to do anything to you. We'll send you back at dawn. What do you want? Song Luiying asked calmly. Now that she had experience with these things, she knew that she could not panic, and it seemed that they did not have the intention to kill. What do they want? We need to talk to Chu Li, head chief. Song Luiying frowned. Head chief is not here. Then where is he? Zhao Jiang scoffed. Don't think that just because you say he's not here, we won't look for him. The head chief is really not here, Song Luiying said. Otherwise, the person just now would not have barged into the residence. Hee, it seems like you admire Chu Li a lot. Qi Zimo laughed. His martial arts is quite good, but how good is it? I don't know how powerful the head chief is, but I know that it won't be a problem for him to kill you. Song Luiying said lightly, I will plead with the head chief to spare your lives. Hee, thank you for your kindness, Princess Song. Qi Zimo laughed strangely. Zhao Jiang snorted. Where did he go? The head chief is busy. He might have gone to the secret guardian's hall. Song Luiying shook her head and said, He's not in the residence tonight. Forget it. Zhao Jiang sighed. It doesn't matter if he's not here. As long as we capture Princess Xiao, he will naturally come. Princess Xiao is not here either, Song Luiying said. Princess Xiao is not here too, Song Luiying said. Princess Song, don't lie to me. Yes. Song Luiying looked at him calmly, trying not to agitate him. Princess Xiao has returned to the House of Duke. Damn it, Qi Zimo said. That Lingfeng can catch it. As they spoke, Zhang Lingfeng floated over with another woman in his arms. He smiled and said, Uncle Master Zhao, Uncle Master Qi, we can't go wrong this time. Li Zhao 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 Zhao. Zhang Zhang. Zhao Jiang looked the girl in. Who is this? Zhao Jiang looked at Song Luiying. Li Xt Zhang. Zhang Zhang Wang Song. Li Zhang Li Song. Zhang Song. Song Zhang Song Song. Princess. Wrong again. Zhang. Wrong. Zhang. Wrong. Zhang Zhang Zhang. Zhang. Ah, wrong again. Zhang Lingfeng's eyes widened. Princess Xiao is not in the mansion. Qi Zimo said, snappily, where are you going to find her? Senior brother. Xiao, what should we do? He turned his head and asked Zhao Jiang. Chu Li isn't here either. What's the point of capturing them? Zhao Jiang scoffed. The 2 of them are fine too. Chu Li is the head chief. How can he not come? That's true. Qi Zimo laughed and said, if he doesn't come, he'll be too incompetent as the chief steward. Hee. The head chief isn't here. It's useless even if you catch us. Song Luiying said, the secret guardian's hall will soon be alerted. You have to be careful. Zhang Lingfeng laughed nonchalantly. Ha, the secret guardian's hall is nothing. They better not ask for trouble. Lingfeng, go and change the letter. If Chu Li doesn't come tomorrow night, we'll kill him. Zhao Jiang scoffed. All right. Zhang Lingfeng smiled and said, What bullsh asterisk T royal residence? It's like a sieve. Martial Uncle Zhao, Martial Uncle Qi, you're being too careful. Young, gather, graceful, and lofty closed you, another frame. Zhang Lingfeng disappeared into thin air, like a drop of water falling into a lake. Your Royal Highness. Zheng Lide arrived outside the cultivation courtyard, separated by the courtyard door. He bowed and probed. He asked carefully, Your Royal Highness? Prince Anne's voice came from inside. What's the matter? Princess Song and Princess Shui both disappeared last night. Zheng Lide wiped his forehead. There was already a thin layer of sweat. Come in, Prince Anne said in a deep voice. Zheng Lide held a letter and carefully pushed the door open. Prince Anne stared at him gloomily. Zheng Lide presented the letter with both hands. It's to find trouble with the head chief. Prince Anne took the letter, glanced at it, and said coldly, The 2 princesses disappeared. Yes. Zheng Lide did not dare to wipe the sweat on his forehead. He said in a low voice, When I woke up in the morning, I found out that they were gone. They left this behind. In other words, someone kidnapped the 2 princesses last night. Prince Anne looked at him coldly, and the protectors in the residence didn't even notice. Yes, Zheng Lide said in a low voice. I'm useless. They're just people who have nothing better to do. Prince Anne sneered. No one will believe this. What has the imperial residence become? Anyone can come and go as they please. Even the princesses were kidnapped, but no one noticed. Zheng Lide lowered his head and said, Nothing. Prince Anne scoffed. Where's the head chief? The head chief wasn't here last night. Zheng Lide quickly said. Where did he go? Prince Anne said impatiently. He's not here when it's the most important time. Zheng Lide said, The head chief said he went to pick up the princesses. He'll be back today. When will he arrive? Prince Anne scoffed. Suddenly, Song Sansi's report came from outside. Your Royal Highness, the head chief is back. Ask the head chief to come over. Prince Anne said coldly. Yes. Song Sansi's voice faded away. Chu Li quickly walked in. He was in high spirits. He closed fist saluted. Your Royal Highness, Commander Zheng is here too. Take a look. Prince Anne passed the letter to Zheng Lide. Zheng Lide presented it to Chu Li. Chu Li glanced at it. His face darkened. Looks like they want to kill me. Were the 2 princesses really kidnapped? Yes. Zheng Lide sighed. Chu Li looked at the letter and nodded. All right, leave this matter to me. I'll save the 2 princesses. If they suffer even a little bit of damage, I'll settle the score with you. Prince Anne said, You failed in your duty as the head chief. You can forget about it. Yes. Chu Li closed fist saluted. Don't worry, Your Royal Highness. He turned and looked at Zheng Lide. Bring 6 protectors here to protect Your Royal Highness. The rest go to the princesses. Yes. Zheng Lide quickly nodded. Prince Anne did not comment at the side. He just watched him command. Chu Li closed fist saluted and left. Zheng Lide quickly followed and began to mobilize the protectors. As Chu Li walked, he was thinking about who did it. Was it the Holy Church of Light, Amethyst Mountain, or some other martial arts faction? It was obvious that there was an ambush waiting for him. The heavenly demonic orb fell into his precordium. Then he activated the all-seeing divine power and instantly appeared in a forest. It was a dense forest. There was a clearing in the forest. Song Luiying and Xuaningyu were sitting on a green boulder that looked like a bed. The acupuncture points on their legs were not unsealed. They were sitting and talking elegantly. Li Gu leaned against a tree to keep watch. The other 3 were cultivating in the forest. Chapter 5:15. Chu Li was a mile away from them, using the omniscient mirror to size up Song Luiying and Xuaningyu. The 2 women were calm, as if they were taking a stroll in spring, chatting. Will the head chief come over? If he's in the public house, he will, but he's not. These people are here to die again. There will always be people who come to die, one after another. It can't be helped. They don't want to live peacefully. These few days, Chinger has been practicing her swordsmanship. Yes, she's practicing very seriously. How's Chiu Er practicing? She's been practicing that move all day long. I don't think it'll be easy to deal with Lung Tao. The last time she fought with the Protector, she couldn't even take one move. Chiu Er is very confident. Xuaningyu shook her head and sighed. She's really been bullied by Lung Tao. As her mother, I'm useless. I can't get justice. Luckily, there's the head chief. She was most grateful to Chu Li. Her daughter was beaten, yet she could not do anything about it. This feeling was too torturous. Sometimes she wanted to pounce on Lung Tao and teach him a lesson, but she knew she couldn't beat him. Chu Li had taught Lung Tao a few lessons, which made her very grateful. The two chatted and talked about their daughter, feeling much calmer. Li Gu, who was watching them from afar, closed his eyes. He sat under a tree root, leaning against the tree as if he had fallen asleep, but he was listening to them. This was a different world. It turned out that the princess's world was nothing more than this. They were all family gossip, no different from wild women in the countryside. He smiled to himself. People were all the same, be it the emperor or the common people. Chu Li suddenly flashed and appeared beside the two women. He reached out and grabbed their waists, then suddenly disappeared. There was suddenly no movement around. Li Gu felt something was wrong and quickly opened his eyes to look. The green rock was empty. The two women who were sitting there had disappeared. He rushed up and shot towards the rock. His body tensed up. When he got closer, they were not hiding under the rock. There was indeed no trace of them. Masters Junior Zhao, Masters Junior Qi. As he shouted, he was on high alert. To be able to take them away without a sound, this person's light body technique was shocking. Zhao Jiang and the other two rushed over, saw the empty rock, then looked at Li Gu. Li Gu's face was red. They were just here. You left. I was sitting there the whole time. Li Gu pointed to where he was sitting. I just closed my eyes. When I opened them, I was gone. The four of them stood with their backs against each other and turned their heads to look around. Chu Li, since you're here, come out. Zhao Jiang said in a deep voice, saves us the trouble of going to Princess Sio. If you don't come out, then don't even think about having a good night's sleep. Zhao Jiang shouted again. Chu Li appeared in the courtyard with the two women in his arms. Lung Qiu and Lung Qing were practicing their swordsmanship in the courtyard. When they saw the three people suddenly appear, they looked over in surprise. Mother, why are you here? Lung Qing and Lung Qiu asked. They came over to practice their swordplay before the sun rose. Song Luiying and Xuaningyu had not woken up yet, so naturally they would not disturb them. They ate breakfast together after their morning practice. Song Luiying shook her head. Xuaningyu sighed. Looks like I really have to cultivate. Chu Li smiled and said, Princesses, I have implicated you. Song Luiying waved her hand and said, if it wasn't for you, we would have been dead long ago. You have to be careful of them. They are masters from Amethyst Mountain. Amethyst Mountain. Chu Li smiled and said, they are really haunting us. Xuaningyu said, is Sister Sio back? Yes, Chu Li nodded. Then let's stay here. Xuaningyu said, she was a little afraid. There were no more assassins for a while, so they went back to their original courtyard. Now, they understood that it was better to stay by the head chief's side. Chu Li smiled and nodded. A bright moon hung in the sky. The lights in Tianshu courtyard were dim. Everyone was asleep. Chu Li sat quietly at the stone table in Tianshu courtyard. There was a pot of wine, a white jade cup, a few dishes to go with the wine, and a plate of green beans. He drank while enjoying the moonlight, leisurely and carefree. Sio Shi, wore a loose moon-white robe. She walked out of the room and sat opposite him. "They can come." Chu Li smiled and said, "The disciples of Amethyst Mountain are so heroic. How can they not come? These people are really annoying." Seosher scoffed and said, "Think of a way to get rid of them once and for all, so that they don't pester us all day long." Chu Li pondered and said, "It's not easy to get rid of them in one go. They have many masters, endless. I guess they are using me as a whetstone for their disciples." As he said this, he shook his head. He was always the whetstone for others. "Whetstone," Seosher said. "Can't you, the whetstone, smash the knife and let them know how powerful you are?" "Forget it this time." Chu Li said, "I owe them a favor. For Sister Song and Sister Shui, they didn't offend them. It's rare." Chu Li said, "I won't take their lives tonight." "Then what else is there to fight? Here it comes." Chu Li suddenly said. He grabbed a handful of green beans from the plate and flicked one with his left hand. Smack! The green bean fell into the shadow at the corner and hit the wall. Smack! He flicked another one with his left hand and shot it into the shadow. Zhang Lingfeng, who was in the shadow, was shocked. This Chu Li could see through his phantomine skill. Chu Li said, "Come out, the phantomine skill is useless against me." "Why?" Zhang Lingfeng slowly stood up from the shadow and revealed his body under the moonlight. "How can you tell?" Chu Li said lightly, "Any light body technique like this is useless against me. As for why, I can't tell you." "You used this to kill my master's junior MO?" Zhang Lingfeng scoffed. Chu Li said, "Those who are good at swimming will drown. The Amethyst Mountain relies too much on the phantomine skill. It's easy to plot against you. Your phantomine skill is very profound. Looks like you are a genius in martial arts. I won't kill you today." "If you don't kill me, I'll kill you," Zhang Lingfeng scoffed. He then looked at Seosher. Seosher's bright eyes sparkled like jewels under the moonlight, as deep as the night sky. Zhang Lingfeng was stunned and could not look away from her bright eyes. Seosher said lightly, "This is the disciple of the Amethyst Mountain?" As expected of the first beauty of the great Qi dynasty, Zhang Lingfeng blushed and said embarrassedly. He then turned his gaze to Chu Li, his murderous intent slowly rising. "Those who kill the disciple of the Amethyst Mountain must be killed. Take this." His body turned into a flash of light and instantly appeared in front of Chu Li, his heaven's thunder palm. In front of such a beauty, he wanted to show off his strongest side. He wanted to kill Chu Li with one palm and let Seosher see his elegance, so he used his killer move. Chu Li sat by the stone table and steadily received the palm. As the palm energy surged into his meridians, the heavenly demonic orb appeared and swallowed it. Zhang Lingfeng frowned. Seeing Chu Li's calm expression, he felt that he must be holding it in. He knew the power of the heaven's thunder palm. No mortal body could withstand it. Chu Li took a sip of wine and shook his head. "Your phantomine skill is profound, but your heaven's thunder palm is not. I'd like to see how many palms you can take." Zhang Lingfeng scoffed, and another heaven's thunder palm came down. Chu Li still steadily received it, one hand holding the white jade cup. "I'd like to see how many palms you can hit." "All right." Zhang Lingfeng did not believe it. Palm after palm, he pushed the heaven's thunder palm to its limit. After more than 20 palms, Zhang Lingfeng's movements slowed down. He turned around and left. Chapter 5:16. Zhang Lingfeng disappeared into the night. Seosher looked at him. "You're letting him go just like that?" "Let him go." Chu Li shook his head and smiled. "I'll spare his life." "This doesn't match your style." Seosher scoffed. "Even if they didn't do anything to Sister Song or Sister Shui, they still wanted to kill you. Are you really going to let them go?" "Yes." Chu Li nodded. "Your heart has softened." Seosher smiled faintly. It's my sister's doing, right? Chu looked at her in annoyance. Seosha pursed her lips and smiled. Your heart is so soft. You should go cultivate Buddhism. I'll settle the score with them sooner or later, Chu said lightly, but not now. He was still counting on their Heaven's Thunder Palm and Shadow Thunder Palm. Without their palm energy, how could his heavenly demonic power advance? Seosha poured herself a glass of wine. You're just going to sit here tonight? Chu said, I think there will be people who won't accept it. Seosha took a sip of wine. You want to beat them one by one? Chu nodded. Seosha said, how boring. She looked up at the moon. Such a beautiful night. And you guys want to fight and kill. How disappointing. Chu said, fighting and killing is also a form of entertainment. Why don't you go in and sleep first, lady? I can't sleep. I'll stay here, Seosha said. She took another sip of wine. There are many fruits on the Spirit Crane's peak. How about we pick some to brew wine? That's a good idea. Chu nodded. There were many fruit trees on the Spirit Crane's peak. They didn't dare to pick them before because they were afraid that the Spirit Cranes would attack them. The Spirit Cranes probably wouldn't stop them now. Who knew if there would be strange fruits? The two of them talked for a while before another figure shot out from the shadows in the corner. Chu sat steadily and extended his palm to receive the attack. The person was Li Gu. He used his ultimate Heaven's Thunder Palm without saying a word and struck more than 20 palms in one breath. Chu's expression didn't change. Li Gu turned and left. After 10 minutes, another figure came out. Chi Zimo was like a wisp of smoke as he appeared in front of Chu. His Heaven's Thunder Palm was more advanced. He kept his mouth shut and seized every second to not give Chu a chance to catch his breath. The heavenly demonic orb continued to devour the orb. As he felt his progress, Chu's face turned red, as if he was about to pass out from drunkenness. Chi Zimo saw the change in Chu's expression and was overjoyed. Chu's face was still red, and his eyes were a little blurred, as if he was in a drunken state. Chi Zimo sighed helplessly and turned to leave. He was so close. As soon as he disappeared, Zhao Jiang came out again and used the Heavenly Thunder Palm again. Rumble. Thunder rumbled faintly, as if the night sky was rolling with muffled thunder. He hit Chu 40 times in one go. Chu's flushed face turned sallow, as if he had not recovered from a serious illness. Zhao Jiang, however, had a bitter expression on his face. He floated backwards and hid in the shadows, disappearing without a trace. What's wrong with them? Seosha looked at Chu in confusion. Why must they fight one-on-one? Can't they fight together? Chu said, they think that they'll be able to wear me down soon. His originally sallow complexion quickly recovered, his eyes regained clarity, and he revealed a smile. It was a huge gain. The heavenly demonic orb absorbed a huge amount of palm energy. The 4th level was pushed forward a little closer to the 5th level. If this continued, after another 20 times, he would almost reach the 5th level. They must be very annoyed now. They should have just surrounded you. Seosha picked up the white jade cup and shook her head. They underestimated your cunning. Chu smiled. If they surrounded me, then I'll do the same. I don't think they'll come again. Zhao Jiang and the other 3 gathered in the dense forest outside the city. They were all listless, and the atmosphere was depressing. Zhao Jiang scoffed. We've been tricked. Masters Junior, Zhao, what should we do? Zhang Lingfeng gritted his teeth, his face full of anger. We've been tricked by him. This guy is too cunning. They thought that they could wear him down by taking turns, but in the end, they were the ones who fell first. Fortunately, he did not want to kill them. Otherwise, the 4 of them might not be able to keep their lives. Just thinking about it made them feel like they were possessed. They wanted to wear him down, but they did not think about the consequences. The key was that he acted too well, as if he was going to fall at any time. Just one more palm, and he would succeed. One palm after another, but he still managed to hold on. How strong is his skill? Li Gu said in a low voice. How can he take so many heaven's thunder palms? They were puzzled. They knew the power of heaven's thunder palms. A normal person could not even take one palm, but he took more than 100. Just thinking about it made them feel cold. It was as if the heaven's thunder palms did not hit him at all. They could not imagine how he could take more than 100 heaven's thunder palms. His martial arts can't be that strong, right? Chi Zimo frowned, or else he wouldn't have to take it head on. He could have just knocked us down. Let's go. Zhao Jiang scoffed. Are we going back to the mountain with our tails between our legs? Chi Zimo asked. Can we kill him? If the 4 of us work together, there's still a glimmer of hope. Forget it, Zhao Jiang scoffed. If we really fight again, we won't be able to keep our lives. Sigh, this is too embarrassing, too suffocating. Zhang Lingfeng sighed. 4 of us can't take care of him. What should we say when we return to the mountain? This is embarrassing, and we're afraid of others talking about it. Zhao Jiang scoffed. We're no match for him. They had already used heaven's thunder palms, but they still could not do anything to him. The phantomine skill was also useless against him, as if it was specially made to restrain them. Masters Junior Mo and the others will be very angry, Zhang Lingfeng said. Chi Zimo said, let's not talk about eldest brother. Even he lost, can't he allow others to lose too? Let's go, Zhao Jiang said in a low voice. Return to the mountain and report. Think of a way to take him down the mountain and make him a disciple of the Amethyst Mountain. Ah. Zhang Lingfeng's eyes widened. Zhao Jiang said, he can see through the phantom Yin skill and block the heaven's thunder palms. This is the most suitable candidate to learn our Amethyst Mountain's martial arts. We are enemies. Enemies or not, it can all be resolved. Junior brother Meng Jian and Masters Junior Mo died in his hands. They have to cultivate from the beginning. The sect will not interfere with the personal grudges of the disciples. Sigh, that depends on whether he is willing or not. Zhang Lingfeng said. Zhao Jiang said. As long as there is enough sincerity, he will definitely be willing. Our Amethyst Mountain is not the house of high dukes or the imperial residence of king, and Chi Zimo touched his chin and did not say a word. Li Gu said, Masters Junior Zhao, are we really going to lure him into the mountain? Zhao Jiang looked at Chi Zimo. Junior Chi, have you heard of it? Chi Zimo slowly said, Yes, I didn't think that there would be such a talent in this world. What talent? Zhang Lingfeng quickly asked. Chi Zimo said, If he cultivates our Amethyst Mountain's martial arts, it will really complement each other. We will be able to become a top-notch master. Zhao Jiang nodded. The Holy Church of Light is growing stronger day by day. I'm afraid we can't stop their invasion of the South. We need to strengthen ourselves. Let's go back to the mountain, Chi Zimo said in a low voice. The next morning, Chu Li sat cross-legged on his bed. He slowly opened his eyes and saw Su Ning, and Suin appeared outside the cultivation courtyard. Behind them was a yellow-robed old monk. He was tall and burly, with a lion's nose and tiger's eyes. Chapter 5:17. Su and Kong Fa followed Su Ning and slowly arrived outside the cultivation courtyard. Kong Fa's tall and sturdy body was as slow as a mountain. Every step he took seemed to shake the earth. Su Ning turned to look at Su and pressed his palms together quietly. Su Ning smiled and knocked on the door of the cultivation courtyard. He said slowly, Your Royal Highness, I'm back. Revered sir, please come in. King En's voice was heard. The courtyard door was quickly pulled open. King En stood at the door, his face full of surprise. He was stunned when he saw Su and Kong Fa. His handsome face showed doubt, and he looked at Su Ning. Su Ning pressed his palms together. "Your Royal Highness, let's talk inside." All right. Revered sir, please come in." King An quickly opened the door and extended his hand to invite them in. Su and Kong Fa pressed their palms together and slowly walked into the cultivation courtyard. Su Ning walked at the back and closed the courtyard door. He pressed his palms together and said, "This is junior brother Su An. This is Master Kong Fa, junior brother Su An's master. Greetings, Your Royal Highness." Kong Fa's tall body bowed slightly and pressed his palms together. His voice was like muffled thunder as he said slowly, "Sorry to disturb Your Royal Highness." No. Revered Sir Kong Fa is too courteous." King An pressed his palms together and smiled. "Revered sir, it is my honor to have you here. Please sit." "You are too courteous, Your Royal Highness." Kong Fa sat by the stone table and was as calm as a mountain. Su An quietly stood beside him. King An also sat down and looked at Su An also looked at him quietly, without any sadness or joy. He already knew from Su Ning that he might be King An's son. However, he did not feel the slightest joy of meeting his father. He was just a simple stranger. His heart was unmoved and as calm as still water. King An was very satisfied with his calmness. This temperament was his own, and he had the bearing of a crown prince. "Zheng lied." He raised his voice. Zheng Lide's voice came from outside. "Yes, Your Royal Highness. Go to the House of Deva and tell them I want to identify the bloodline." King An said in a low voice. "Yes, Your Royal Highness." Zheng Lide respectfully replied and quickly left. King An looked at Su Ning. "Revered sir, the royal bloodline needs to be approved by the House of Deva. The House of Deva has a set of strict, secret techniques. As long as the House of Deva approves of it, no one can deny it." "Yes." Su Ning nodded. "His Royal Highness doesn't look well. Did something happen?" Prince An's face darkened, and he scoffed. "Amethyst Mountain." "Amethyst Mountain offended Your Royal Highness again." Su Ning was shocked. He knew of King An's hatred towards the Amethyst Mountain. His martial arts was crippled, and his kidneys were severely injured, all because of the disciples of the Amethyst Mountain. If he had the ability, His Royal Highness would definitely destroy the Amethyst Mountain, and he would not be lenient. Prince An scoffed loudly and told him about what happened yesterday. Su Ning frowned. Did the head chief take care of them? "The princesses have returned safely." King An said, "I don't care about the rest. Let Shu Li handle it himself." Su Ning slowly nodded his head. "The Amethyst Mountain is extremely powerful. It's better if Your Royal Highness does not provoke it." "Humph." King An scoffed coldly and slammed the table. "One day I will make them vanish into thin air." He looked angry on the outside, but he was calm on the inside, secretly sizing up Su An, seeing that Su An's expression was as calm as water and was not at all affected by his aura. King An secretly nodded his head and was even more satisfied. His anger was not only natural, but it was also intentional. He had been in a high position for a long time, and his aura was like a substance. It would definitely affect others. Su An was able to stay calm. His temperament was indeed not bad, and he was a good seedling. Moreover, he was not old. Even if he had not built his foundation, it was not too late to start now. He just had to get more spirit medicine. "Has Su An cultivated martial arts?" He looked at Kong Fa. Kong Fa slowly said, "He has just started to cultivate divine powers." "Oh." King An looked at Su Ning. Su Ning said, "Junior brother Su An has just completed his foundation. He can cultivate." "I see." King An slowly nodded his head. That was even better. Completing his foundation would save him a lot of effort. With his calm temperament, cultivating inner energy would definitely progress by leaps and bounds. Kong Fa bowed, with pressed palms. Your Royal Highness, I have something to report first. Please speak, revered Sir Kong Fa. King and hurriedly nodded. Kong Fa slowly said, Su-an is already an official disciple of our temple. He has to follow the temple's rules when he enters cultivation. He cannot leave the temple until he cultivates divine powers. This time, because it concerns his parentage, the abbot made an exception, but he cannot stay for long. He must return to the Titanium Temple after a day and continue his isolated cultivation. He cannot stay in the imperial residence. King frowned. Please forgive me, Your Royal Highness. Kong Fa slowly but firmly said, the temple's rules are like this. No one can go against it. King looked at Su-an, then looked at Su-ning. Su-ning said, Your Royal Highness need not worry. Junior brother Su-an is wise. Cultivating divine powers is not a difficult thing. He will succeed in a few years. When that time comes, he can return to the imperial residence. Moreover, the temple is more stable than the imperial residence. It is beneficial for cultivation. King thoughtfully nodded his head. He understood the meaning behind Su-ning's words. In terms of safety, the Titanium Temple was naturally better. Until now, he had never heard of anyone who could break into the Titanium Temple. If Su-an was really his son, then he would be his only flesh and blood. His situation would be worrisome. He was afraid that someone would go crazy and risk their lives to kill him. He might not be able to protect him. Hiding in the Titanium Temple would be foolproof. Thinking of this, he smiled and nodded. That's good too. Your Royal Highness, the official of the House of Deva is here. Chief Zhu reported from outside. Official? King was stunned. He jumped up, opened the main door. I will personally welcome him. The House of Deva was in charge of the Imperial Ancestral Temple and matters of the Imperial family. To the disciples of the Imperial family, it was the most terrifying existence. It was extremely strict. There was absolutely no mercy. Yes, Chief Zhu responded and hurried away. King turned his head to look at Su-an. He pondered for a while. Revered sir, please invite revered Sir Kong Fa and Su-an to the living room. I will go over immediately. Kong Fa pressed his palms together. Su-ning brought Kong Fa and Su-an out of the cultivation courtyard. They arrived at the main hall. King quickly brought the three into the main hall. The one in front was an elder with white hair and a ruddy complexion. The other two were middle-aged men. Their faces were square. Their aura was stern and solemn. Kong Fa and Su-ning only glanced at them. They did not move. Su-an slightly pressed his palms together. King pointed at Su-an smiled. Ninth uncle, this is Su-an, the elder with white hair and a ruddy complexion, was the official of the House of Deva, Lung Wuji. He stroked his white beard and smiled. He looks a little like you. All right, then use the blood pursuit secret skill. Let's see if it's really him. Thank you, ninth uncle. King smiled. Lung Wuji glanced at the other two middle-aged men. You two use the skill. Yes, official. The two closed fists saluted. They each poured tea in a teacup, leaving the remaining empty cup. Your Royal Highness, please bite your index finger and drip 5 drops of blood from your heart. King knew the blood pursuit secret skill. He bit his index finger and dripped 5 drops of blood into the teacup. The two carefully placed the teacup on the table, then sat on the chairs, both of their hands pinched together, their mouths murmuring softly. After a few breaths, they pointed at the teacup in front of them. The teacup trembled slightly. It started to shake slightly. The shaking of the teacup became more and more intense. Slowly, a cloud of blood mist floated out of the teacup. Chapter 5:18. P.S. There are still updates to be added today. Su-an raised his head and looked at the two moving blood mists curiously. It was as if there was a life struggling within. It was indescribably strange. Su Ning pressed his palms together. Princeton stared at the blood mists excitedly. Kong Fa looked at it thoughtfully. This blood pursuit secret skill was indeed unique. Its secret was to use the power of the blood vessels. It was invisible, but it had substance. The person who created this skill was truly a scholar. It was truly admirable. The two blood mists suddenly converged and turned into two wisps of smoke that drilled into Suen's palms. Suen did not dodge. He only looked at them curiously as they drilled into his palms and penetrated his skin. There was no trace of them, as if they had never appeared. The two of them let out a long sigh and slowly stopped. They closed, fist saluted, and smiled. "Congratulations, Your Royal Highness." "Congratulations, Your Royal Highness." Princeton chuckled and smiled. He closed fist, saluted. "Thank you for your hard work. Ninth uncle, if that's the case, Suen is really my son." "Yes, Suen is your son. He will be recorded in the Deva Residence Register today." Lung Wuji stroked his beard and smiled. "What a blessing. This child's blood vessels are pure. He will be a pillar in the future. You must nurture him well." Looking at the blood pursuit secret skill, one could see the purity of the blood vessels. Suen had the essence of the Lung clan's blood vessels. He was a genius. "Ninth uncle, it's not my turn to nurture him yet." Princeton smiled bitterly and shook his head. He is now a disciple of the Titanium Temple. He has started cultivating the divine power. He can only leave the temple after he has cultivated the divine power. "Oh." Lung Wuji looked at Suen in surprise. He shook his head and praised. "What a blessing. I wonder how happy the emperor will be if he knows. To have a Buddha as his grandson. This is a sign of prosperity for the Lung clan." "Ninth uncle, you're too serious." Princeton smiled. Lung Wuji waved his hand and said, "You can't be careless. My Lung clan has never had a son of Buddha before. Once a son of Buddha is born, the bloodline will never end. This is a great fortune. I have to report this to the emperor first. Ninth uncle, Suen will return to the temple tomorrow. Let's wait until he leaves. Otherwise, there will be too many people talking." Princeton quickly said. He was afraid that someone would assassinate him on his way back to the temple. Although this was unlikely, he still had to be prepared. If something really happened, he would be finished. "Oh, that's true. But don't worry." Lung Wuji waved his hand and smiled. "The emperor knows what he is doing. If he really can't do it, just ask the imperial house elder to escort him back to the temple." "Amit Ba." Kong Fa chanted the name of Buddha and shook his head slowly. "With me here, I can naturally protect my disciple. There's no need to trouble yourself." "He, revered Sir Kong Fa, we're a family now," Princeton hurriedly said. "Suen's identity is very sensitive now. Don't worry, Your Highness. Suen will be safe and sound for the rest of his life. There won't be any life or death calamity," Kong Fa said slowly. Seeing his determined expression, Kingen knew that he could not force him. He could only smile and say, "If that's the case, I'll listen to the revered sir." Lung Wuji smiled and said, "All right, it's time for me to go. Don't worry, do your job well." As he spoke, he patted King N's shoulder. With Suen as his son, Kingen had a huge advantage. His position in the imperial family was also different. Even if he could not have any more children in the future, it was enough to have one. He was one step ahead of everyone else in the fight for the throne. Children were no longer his weakness, but had become his strength. With the same talent and ability, the emperor would first consider King N. If the Arhut could become the emperor, how amazing would that be? The Lung clan's empire would probably advance further. King N sent them off respectfully. When he returned, the corners of his mouth were curled up. He tried his best to not show his joy on his face, so as not to give people a frivolous feeling. However, he could not control it no matter what. One step into the underworld, one step into the clouds. There was nothing more strange than fate. Revered Sir Kong Fa, please take care of Suin. He pressed his palms together and said, if the revered sir needs anything such as spirit medicine, just let me know. I will do my best to fulfill it. You don't have to do this, Your Highness. Kong Fa shook his head and said, our temple doesn't lack these things. Since it's done, we should take our leave. Isn't it tomorrow? King and was startled. I haven't introduced Su and to the people in the residence. There's no hurry, Kong Fa said. When Suin leaves the temple, it won't be too late to get to know them. Now that he has just started his cultivation, it's not suitable for him to get too involved in the affairs of the mortal world. It's not suitable to disturb his mortal heart. All right, if that's the case, I won't stay any longer, Kingen said slowly. I'll have to trouble revered Sir Kong Fa to worry. He could not wait for Suin to hurry back to the temple. Staying in the titanium temple was the safest option. Staying in the residence was really dangerous. If the news was leaked, who knew what would happen? Of course, Kong Fa pressed his palms together and bowed. Suin also pressed his palms together and bowed. Kong Fa held onto Suin's sleeves. The two of them fluttered up like two yellow clouds. They flew over the courtyard wall and disappeared. Sigh. King and let out a long sigh of relief. He suddenly felt a little tired. His heart that had been on tenterhooks could finally be put down. It was really like when there was no way out, there was light at the end of the tunnel. He originally thought that he was in a hopeless situation, but he suddenly found a way out and lived a better life. A few days ago, he was still feeling sorry for himself, lamenting that fate was unfair and that it was too harsh on him. In the next moment, the tables were turned and the world changed. The strangeness of fate was really unpredictable. It seemed like the heavens were still looking after him. All the suffering he had gone through before was just a form of training to make him stronger. Now that he had Suin, he was in an invincible position. No matter how much he tormented himself, for Suin's sake, his imperial father would not punish him too heavily. Su Ning pressed his palms together and smiled. Congratulations, Your Royal Highness. Ha ha. You've worked hard, revered sir. Kingen laughed out loud. Su Ning had his eye of insight, so he did not need to hide anything in front of him. He laughed and said, the heavens are really helping me. Your Royal Highness, you can pull yourself together. Su Ning smiled and said, cultivate well and recover your cultivation level as soon as possible. Yes. Kingen laughed and said, the day of the Crown Prince's grand map is not far away. Suin followed Kong Fa out of the fairy's capital. Master, Suin suddenly called out. He had been acting very calm, as if everything had nothing to do with him. He did not say a word to Kingen, nor did he call him father. Towards this father, he did not feel close at all. There was only a faint resistance and disgust, as if there was an inexplicable hatred. Kong Fa landed on the side of the road and looked at Suin. What is it? I want to see almsgiver Seo, Suin said. He knew that the person he wanted to see the most was not the inexplicable father, but Seo Sure. She is now King An's princess consort. We will meet again in the future. Let's return to the temple and cultivate first, Kong Fa said. Suin said, I want to see her now. Sigh. Kong Fa shook his head and said, your mortal heart should not be moved anymore. Once you have cultivated your divine powers, you can see her whenever you want. Let's go. After he finished speaking, he did not wait for Suin to speak and carried him away. Suin helplessly turned his head and looked at the fairy's capital. The fairy's capital was getting further and further away from him. He was melancholy and depressed. Kong Fa's body movement technique was extremely fast. Suan only felt that everything in front of him was flying backward. In the blink of an eye, he was already far away from the fairy's capital. The further he was from almsgiver Seo, the more uncomfortable he felt. His longing for her grew stronger. Time passed. In Suan's gloomy mood, 100 miles had passed unknowingly. It was already noon. Kong Fa stopped and prepared to find a place to rest. Suan no longer had the calmness he had when he was in the imperial residence. He was listless, and his face was full of unhappiness. Kong Fa knew that he was throwing a tantrum. He pretended not to know and strode into a forest. After walking a few steps along the narrow path in the forest, a small pagoda appeared in front of him. It was a post house for travelers to rest. "Little monk," a gentle and beautiful voice suddenly sounded. Suan suddenly trembled. He quickly widened his eyes and looked forward. A man and a woman were standing in the pagoda. The man was in a white robe, while the woman was in a bluish-white gown. Chapter 5:19. P.S. Prepare to write 10 chapters. Try to write as much as you can. Suan widened his eyes and shouted excitedly, "Almsgiver Seo!" Seo Shi's eyes were as deep as the sea. As she looked around, her gaze was like water. She waved her hand lightly. "Little monk, come here." Suan ran over obediently, ignoring Kong Fa. Kong Fa shook his head. Chuli stood beside Seo Shi and bowed, with pressed palms from afar. Kong Fa also bowed with pressed palms. Seo Shi ignored Kong Fa and patted Suan's shoulder. She smiled. "Little monk, why didn't you look for me when you entered the public house? Are you avoiding me?" Suan looked at her with a silly smile and shook his head hard. That's good. If you were to avoid me, I would be angry and cause a ruckus outside the titanium temple. Seosher smiled. Yo, you've grown taller. You didn't put on any weight, but your complexion is much better. Suan scratched his head in embarrassment. Ever since he built his foundation, it was as if he was eating back everything he owed for the past 10 years. His appetite was surprisingly big and good. He could eat 3 to 4 times the amount of other people, but he did not put on any weight. Good, that's how it should be. Seosher smiled and nodded. She patted his forehead. How is it? You're enlightened and can cultivate divine powers now. Suan said softly, I'm starting to cultivate divine ear. Divine ear, not bad. Cultivate well and leave the temple soon. Seosher smiled. Yes. Suan nodded. Seosher said, you can't come out if you're in isolation. Did I give you the things I sent last time? Yes. Suan nodded. Seosher pursed her lips and smiled. You're really prince and son now? Suan nodded again. Seosher said, looks like I'm really your mother. I'm prince and princess now. Suan blushed. Seosher chuckled. Come, let me hear you call me mother. Suan shook his head. Chu Li could not stand it anymore. He smiled. Spare him, little revered Sir Suan, now that you've acknowledged your ancestors. How do you feel? Facing Chu Li, Suan was calm and collected. He shook his head and said, I don't feel anything. Chu Li turned his head to look at Kong, Fa, king, and is really interesting. Back then, he used the vitality sealing finger on Lady Xiao, and in the end, she became his consort. He also used the vitality sealing finger on Suan, and in the end, he became his son. The wonders of the world must have made King an extremely emotional. Kong, Fa's face darkened. He knew how vicious the vitality sealing finger was. If it were not for Suan's good fortune that allowed him to meet him first, and then be saved by Chu Li, he would have died a long time ago. King En's father was truly the most hateful and despicable. Since Master Kong, Fa, knows it's him, why do you still want to recognize him? Chu Li asked, puzzled. Kong, Fa sighed and shook his head. Seosher looked at him with her bright eyes and scoffed. Master, what's so difficult to say? Let's hear it. Kong, Fa looked at her helplessly. He knew that Seosher was angry because he brought Suan away and did not let him see her. What's the matter? Seosher said, having a father like that is so infuriating. Kong, Fa sighed. This is a God's secret. It can't be leaked. Then forget it. Chu Li smiled. God's secret cannot be easily leaked. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble. But since we met, it's also fate. Kong Fa said, this old monk will leak the God's secret. Old monk, hurry up and say it. Seosher urged impatiently. Kong Fa said, I'm afraid King and won't have long to live. Chu Li was shocked. Seosher's eyes suddenly lit up. Her beauty was astonishing. Is he really going to die? Kong Fa sighed. In less than a year, there will be a life and death crisis. I'm afraid King and won't be able to survive it. So I brought Suan here. It's considered as fulfilling my responsibility as a son. If I don't see him, I'll have regrets. God is finally going to take him. Seosher beamed with joy. She smiled sweetly. Good death. She turned to look at Suan. Little monk, do you blame me for being vicious? Suan shook his head. Chu Li said, this is a big matter. King En's death. The emperor will be furious. He will definitely hunt down the murderer. He could not kill King and in a short period of time. His plan was to use the Holy Church of Light to kill King En, but the time was not right. In the world, only the Tempest Temple and the Holy Church of Light dared to kill King En. The other factions were afraid of the emperor's power. Whoever killed King and would suffer the wrath of the emperor, their family and faction would be exterminated. No one dared to touch this bad luck. Moreover, Kingen was not eye-catching now. He was not taken seriously by the other factions. It was not worth provoking the emperor just to kill him. The Tempest Temple was not used by him. Instead, they turned him into an army. Fortunately, he had the omniscient mirror and inherited the Golden Lohan's power. Otherwise, he would be depressed to the point of vomiting blood. Now, only the Holy Church of Light had the guts. But it was not to the extent of killing Kingen. He needed to push it step by step. He needed to direct their anger onto King, and these madmen, who were not afraid of death, would definitely kill him. What he had to do was to remove himself as much as possible. He could not see his own shadow. He had to make things happen naturally. It was not man-made, and he could not be blamed. It was not easy to achieve this step. He needed the right time, the right place, and the right people. Kong Fa said slowly, "Yes, Kingen's death is also a disaster for almsgiver Chu. You must not be careless." Chu Li smiled. "Looks like I have to hide." Kong Fa bowed with pressed palms. "That's all I have to say. I cannot speak any more." "Old monk, you've said enough. Thank you." Xiao Shi bowed with pressed palms. She looked at Chu Li worriedly. Kingen's death was also a disaster for Chu Li. Could it be that the emperor wanted to kill Chu Li? Kong Fa smiled and shook his head. Xiao Shi looked at Su and, "Little monk, do you want to stay at my place for a few days?" Kong Fa quickly said, "Suan's heart is not clear. It's better to return to the temple as soon as possible." "What's the rush? Look at Chu Li. It's so easy to cultivate divine powers. Is his heart clear?" Xiao Shi said. Kong Fa shut his mouth helplessly. Chu Li's existence was a great provocation to the monks of the Titanium Temple. They spent decades of hard work and might not be able to cultivate two divine powers. Chu Li, on the other hand, only took a few days. Their decades of hard work was so insignificant and pitiful. Chu Li smiled. It was a coincidence. It can't be confirmed. Let's listen to revered Sir Kong Fa. Then let's send Suan back to the temple. Xiao Shi smiled. I'll bring you around to play. You can go into isolation after you've had your fun. Kong Fa smiled bitterly. Chu Li said, "That's true. It's beneficial for his cultivation. Revered sir, let Suan experience the majestic mountains and rivers, the boundless heaven and earth. It's beneficial for his cultivation." Kong Fa sighed. "Suan needs to calm his heart." Chu Li smiled. "I've also cultivated divine powers before. That's why I understand that the state of mind is the most important. I will help Su and..." "Sigh. That's fine," Kong Fa said helplessly. "I'll return to the temple first. Suan will follow you to have a look. Don't take too long." 10 days is enough. Chu Li smiled. "In the evening, 10 days later, I'll send Suan outside the Titanium Temple." "All right, I'll be waiting." Kong Fa nodded and said to Su, "And don't go wild." Chapter 5:20. On the first day, they went to Qingyun town and played in the town for a day. On the second day, they went to Chongming town and played in the town for a day. On the third day, they played in the fairy's capital for a day. On the fourth day, they went horseback riding in the grassland. On the fifth day, they climbed a snowy mountain. They did not use light body technique and climbed step by step. After 2 days, they finally reached the top. On the seventh day, they went boating in the sea. On the eighth day, they drank tea and chatted in front of a huge waterfall. On the ninth day, they sat at the top of the mountain and watched the clouds rise and fall. On the 10th day, they sat in a valley and leisurely sat. In the evening, They returned to the titanium temple. Kong Fa was waiting outside the temple. Co sure patted Suin's shoulder. Little monk, practice well and come out early. Suin bowed with pressed palms and walked to his master's side with heavy steps. Kong Fa bowed with pressed palms and brought Suin into the titanium temple without a word. The temple door slowly closed. Seosher's eyes were wet. Chuli smiled. Don't worry, it won't be long. These few days had been interesting. Seosher sighed. I really don't know when the next time will be. Chuli said, maybe 1 or 2 years, maybe 3 to 5 years. Can't you say it's shorter? Maybe a few months. Seosher scoffed. Chuli smiled and nodded. Maybe 2. The two returned to the imperial residence of King, and in an instant, in the early morning, Long Chiu and Long Qing were dressed in black, looking valiant and heroic. They rushed to Chu Li's courtyard. Chu Li was practicing in the courtyard. When he saw them, he smiled. Today is the hunting ceremony. Why are you up so early instead of resting? I can't sleep. I don't feel comfortable if I don't practice early, the two answered. They began to practice their swordsmanship. As they practiced, Lung Chiu started to get distracted. Head chief, do you think we can defeat Lung Tao? Yes, Chu Li began to practice his fist technique. Lung Chiu said, I don't think I'm good enough. It's not good enough. Chu Li moved slowly. His fists were slow. He smiled, but it's enough to take care of Lung Tao. That's good. Lung Chiu sighed in relief. Lung Qing said, if we can't do it, we'll do it next time. Humph, I can't wait any longer. Lung Chiu pursed her red lips tightly and scoffed. I must defeat him ruthlessly and stab him with my sword. Chu Li smiled. I've already prepared the pills. Even if he dies from the stab, he can still be saved. All right, Lung Chiu said excitedly. Lung Qing shook her head and laughed. They practiced absent-mindedly for a while, then ran back to eat breakfast. After breakfast, everyone rode out of the imperial residence. They passed through the bustling streets and quickly left the divine capital, heading towards the imperial enclosure. This year's hunting ceremony was the same as the previous one. The number of elite soldiers on both sides of the road had doubled. Their eyes were sharp, and they were all elites who had killed and seen blood. Even if their martial arts were not as good as these princes, they were not far behind. Chu Li followed beside Xiao Shi, while Lung Chiu and Lung Qing rode their horses in front. Lung Chiu was no longer afraid of Lung Tao. With his sword art, Lung Chiu felt that the hunting ceremony had become very interesting. It was like a whole new world in front of him. The world in his eyes was much more lively and interesting. Everything was so fun and interesting that he would never get tired of watching it. The sound of galloping horses could be heard. A few riders came to Chu Li's side and overtook them. When they saw Lung Chiu and Lung Qing, the 5 riders suddenly stopped. Yo, if it isn't Sister Lung Chiu. A lazy voice was heard. Lung Tao sat on his horse and looked at them with a smile. Lung Chiu and Lung Qing looked behind them. However, their vision was blocked by Lung Tao and the others. They could not see Chu Li and the others. They could not help but feel a little guilty. Lung Tao had something to rely on. He turned around and glanced at Chu Li, who was not far away. He curled his lips and turned back to Lung Chiu. Sister Lung Chiu, what do you think? Do you want to spar? Back then, Chu Li boasted in the imperial residence that he could defeat me in a month. Ha ha. Lung Chiu pursed her red lips and stared at him hatefully. Defeating you is a piece of cake. Ha ha. Lung Tao laughed. His chubby body shook with laughter. You're too good at bragging. Defeating me. Come on, let's try. Lung Chiu leaped down from her horse and scoffed. Those who don't dare to fight are dogs. All right, Lung Tao had the same intention. He had stopped her to humiliate Chu Li. There was no fun in beating her up anymore, so he was too lazy to do it himself. If you lose, you'll slap yourself 10 times. All right, Lung Chiu said, hatefully. If you lose, you'll kneel and call me Grandaunt. Although our bet is unfair, I like it. Let's do it. Lung Tao clapped his hands and chuckled. If I slap your little face 10 times, how swollen will it be? It'll be very pretty. Lung Chiu pouted. If you call me Grandaunt, I won't answer. I don't have the face to keep such an embarrassing grandnephew like you. Little girl, you're still talking big. Looks like you haven't been beaten enough. Lung Tao scoffed and pulled out his sword. I heard that you've only learned one sword technique. Come, let's see. One sword technique. Ha ha. Against someone like you, one sword technique is enough. Lung Chiu pouted her red lips in disdain. Lung Qing interrupted their verbal battle and said impatiently, Can it be less? Close. Ruling the boat. Lung Chiu stopped talking. Lung Tao glanced sideways at Lung Qing and grinned. Sister Qing, you're a beauty, but you always put on a long face, as if everyone owes you money. This is not good. You should change it. You should change your foul mouth. Lung Qing said snappily. Hurry up. If you don't want to fight, then let's fight. Lung Tao scoffed. Come on. He waved his fat hand and chuckled. I'll let you have one move first. You don't have to let me. You go first. Lung Chiu held her sword and smiled coldly. Otherwise, you'll have to find excuses when you lose later. Little girl, you're not losing at all. Watch my sword. Lung Tao laughed and pulled out his sword. He said it in a joking manner, but he was serious when he attacked. He was also afraid that he would fail miserably. That fellow surnamed Chu was a little evil. If he really taught Lung Chiu some incredible sword technique, then he would really lose a lot of face. A few sword flowers pierced towards Lung Chiu, showing Lung Tao's exquisite skill. Lung Chiu frowned. She did not expect Lung Tao's sword technique to be so powerful. He had lied to everyone in the past and purposely showed weakness. Lung Qing also frowned. They had been sparring with the protectors for a while now, and Chu Li had also taught them various sword techniques, training their eyesight. With just one look, they could tell that something was wrong with Lung Tao. He was actually a hidden master. Lung Qing looked not far away. Chu Li and the others were slowly approaching as if they did not see them. They were not far away. Chu Li and the others were obviously not worried. Lung Qing quickly raised her voice. Head Chief. Chu Li raised his eyebrows and shook his head with a smile. His gaze fell on one of the 4 riders. The 4 riders were all young men with average looks. One of them was a tall young man who was especially eye-catching. He looked like he could crush the horse when he sat on it. His gaze was like lightning. It was as if a blade had flashed past his eyes. Chapter 5:21. Hee hee, Sister Lung Chiu, don't keep retreating. Lung Tao chuckled. The flowers of the sword were like blooming plum blossoms. It was extremely beautiful. They kept floating towards Lung Chiu as if they were going to devour her at any time. Lung Chiu retreated again and again. Her pretty face was tense, and her bright eyes were focused on his sword. Lung Tao teased her as he attacked. He was full of sarcasm. Sister Lung Chiu, I've already made more than 10 moves. Where's the one strike? Lung Tao chuckled. You defeated me with 1 strike. Why haven't you used your sword? Is it rusted in the scabbard? Lung Tao pressed forward step by step, while Lung Chiu retreated step by step. Lung Qing helplessly retreated a few steps too. She frowned. She did not expect Lung Tao's swordsmanship to be so powerful. Since he had such powerful martial arts, why did he not have any power to fight back against the head chief? He got beaten up just like that. Could it be that he purposely let the head chief hit him to make it seem like the head chief was arrogant? As she thought about this, she looked at Chu Li. Chu Li was staring at the tall young man. He smiled and closed fist saluted. "May I know who you are?" "I am Zhu Tianhua." The tall young man closed fist saluted and said, "Are you head chief, Chu Li?" Chu Li nodded. "That's me. May I know which faction are you from?" "I'm from the mountains." "I have no faction," the tall young man said. Chu Li smiled. "I see. To be able to cultivate to this level without any faction, Brother Zhu is a genius." "You flatter me. I wouldn't dare to call myself a genius in front of head chief Chu," Zhu Tianhua said lightly. The other 3 knights did not say a word. Their bodies were tense and ready to attack at any time. They understood Chu Li's methods very well. He attacked without hesitation. As protectors, if their master was hit again, they would be punished when they returned and lose a lot of money. "It's been 20 moves. Lung Tao's laughter was heard. Chu Li turned his head to look and shook his head. Song Luiying and Xuaningyu rode on their horses and stared at the battle. Xuaningyu's hands were holding a silk handkerchief tightly. It was already deformed, and the silk was about to fall. Song Luiying frowned. "This is not good. Why hasn't Xiao Er used her sword?" Xuaningyu quickly said, "She doesn't dare to use her sword. She doesn't have the confidence. There's only one chance." "Sai, it's dangerous." Song Luiying shook her head helplessly. Xiao smiled. "There's no rush. Young Qiu is still looking for the flaw in his sword technique. He'll find it eventually." "Really?" Xuaningyu quickly turned to look at her. Xiao smiled. "You see, Chu Li isn't anxious at all. He has already predicted this. Lung Tao playing tricks on him is just asking to be humiliated. Head chief has already seen through it." Xuaningyu hurriedly said, "You already knew that Lung Tao had concealed his martial arts." "Of course," Xiao said. Xuaningyu let out a sigh of relief. Song Luiying also heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. "I forgot about the head chief's ability. He has calculated everything, so we shouldn't be able to hide it from him." "Little Sister Cold Autumn, it's been 30 moves. If you still don't make a move, then I won't play with you anymore. Watch out for my sword." Lung Qiu shouted. "Chi!" A soft whistling sound rang out, and the sword light flashed like lightning. Lung Tao suddenly clutched his chest and fell down. Zhu Tianhua's expression changed drastically when Lung Qiu attacked. He wanted to fly up to save him, but a palm energy came crashing over and stopped him from getting up. He missed the chance to save Lung Tao. He stared at Chu Li angrily. Chu Li smiled. "There's no rush. He won't die." Lung Qiu took out a silk handkerchief and gently wiped the blood off the blade. She threw the handkerchief at Lung Tao. "Humph! 1 move is 1 move. How about it?" Lung Tao clutched his stomach and did not move. His face was pale and beads of sweat covered his forehead. He stared at her in disbelief. What about me?" Lung Qiu sheathed her sword and lifted her head proudly. She puffed out her chest. "Lung Tao, now you know the pain, right? Don't worry, I stabbed your stomach, not your heart. I've spared your worthless life. Next time you see me, call me Grand Aunt and thank me for sparing your life." "Lung Qiu, I will take my revenge." Lung Tao stared at him angrily and said with difficulty. Chu Li glided over to Lung Qiu and smiled. "Congratulations, Lady Qiu, for getting your revenge." Lung Qiu smiled like a flower. "How satisfying." Zhu Tianhua came over to Lung Tao and looked at his injuries. He stared at Chu Li coldly. "Head Chief Chu, if His Royal Highness asks, I will tell you the truth. I hope Head Chief Chu can bear His Royal Highness' anger." Chu Li smiled. "It's just a flesh wound. Don't make a fuss. Lung Tao used to hit Lady Lung Chiu like this too. If His Royal Highness wants to, just look for me. Farewell. He chuckled after he said that. Does Crown Prince Tao need any medicine? Consort Shui's golden wound ointment is the best in the army. Normal medicine would take 10 days to heal, but the golden wound ointment would only take 6 to 7 days. It would save you a lot of pain. Do you want some? Xue Ningyu urged her horse over and pursed her lips into a smile. After all, it was Chiu Er who injured him. You should give Lung Tao some golden wound ointment. Chiu Er. Lung Chiu scoffed. What golden wound ointment? It's a waste to give it to someone like him. I'm not giving it. Xue Ningyu was annoyed. Don't be so petty. Lung Chiu walked in front of Lung Tao and looked down at him. Do you want it? Lung Tao clenched his teeth and scoffed. Forget it. Chu Li smiled and said, Since Crown Prince Tao doesn't want it, then forget it. We should leave too. All right, let's go. Lung Chiu leaped onto the horse. She was light and vigorous. Her clean and neat movements were pleasing to the eye. She sat on the horse and looked down at Lung Tao. Don't forget to call me Grandaunt. After she said that, she laughed delicately and urged the horse forward. She shook the reins and shouted, Go, before galloping the horse away. Lung Qing chuckled as well and followed suit. Chu Li came closer and sighed. Crown Prince Tao, take care. Lung Tao clenched his teeth and glared at him. His chubby face kept trembling. He said hatefully, All right, I'll remember that. Chu Li smiled and turned around. Let's go too. Xue Ningyu only felt refreshed and exceptionally carefree. She smiled. The hunting ceremony this time should be exceptionally interesting. After that, everyone urged their horses forward. Lung Tao stared at Chu Li's back and asked gloomily, Can you kill him? Zhu Tianhua shook his head. Lung Tao said, Can't kill him. Zhu Tianhua sighed. His cultivation level is unfathomable. I'm not confident. Then try. Lung Tao scoffed. This is the best time. Finish him off. I'll give you whatever you want. All right. Zhu Tianhua nodded slowly. I only want Miss Mu Qing. No problem, Lung Tao said. As long as you kill him, Mu Qing will be yours. Zhu Tianhua nodded slowly. His hair moved even though there was no wind. Lung Tao let out a proud smile. Chu Li, on the other hand, took a glance behind him. His omniscient mirror had been staring at Lung Tao. He could feel Lung Tao's murderous intent and expectation towards Zhu Tianhua. This Zhu Tianhua was a disciple of a secluded faction. He was not self-taught. He did not walk around the world. It was a secluded heritage faction. Chapter 522. Lung Chiu rode on her horse, beaming with joy. Head Chief, how was my swordsmanship? Chu Li smiled. Your ability to seize the opportunity is a little lacking. Logically speaking, with your swordsmanship, you should be able to defeat him in 10 moves. I wanted to play it safe. I only had one chance. Lung Chiu smiled. She was in a great mood, wishing she could fly. Lung Qing said, I think young Chiu has already used it well. If it was me, I would not dare to attack until more than 100 moves. That's because she was not forced to that step. Chu Li smiled. Lung Tao's sarcasm made her perform better than usual. Lung Chiu pursed her lips and smiled. Yes, the angrier I am, the clearer my mind is. I saw his flaw. They discussed as they rode on their horses. Chu Li called Lu Xing over and whispered a few instructions. Lu Xing nodded slowly, turned his horse around, and went back. Lung Chiu could not stop talking excitedly. Xue Ningyu was also beaming. The hunting ceremony, this time, was still hosted by Prince Bao. When he arrived at the tall building, he saw Chu Li in the crowd. He smiled and nodded. then walked into the tall building with a sullen face. He spoke to the crowd about the benevolence of the emperor, the painstaking efforts of the ancestors, and how they should cherish this opportunity and work hard to build the army. After an hour, he announced the start of the hunting ceremony. This time, because Lung Feng was not there, Lu Yurong and Princess Lu did not come, which made Chu Li a little disappointed. Lung Qiu and Lung Qing were very popular. They were quickly pulled aside by some women to talk to her, asking her about swordsmanship and the situation at that time. The news of her defeating Lung Tao in one move had spread throughout the entire imperial enclosure. Everyone knew about it. Chu Li sized up the cavalrymen in the enclosure. It was rare for Lung Tao to be so strong-willed. Even though he was injured, he still insisted on fighting and would not run away. After a while, Chu Li's expression changed. He saw Lung Tao being heavily injured, knocked by a horse, then stepped on twice by the horse's hooves, coincidentally on the wound on his stomach, so he screamed and fell to the ground, struggling and screaming. Chu Li frowned. The cavalryman who stepped on him did not do it on purpose. It was really a coincidence. Lung Tao was really unlucky. Prince Bao shouted from upstairs, "Protector Lung Tao, go over immediately." Zhu Tianhua responded in a low voice, like a wisp of smoke. He traveled a mile in the blink of an eye and arrived in front of Lung Tao. He helped him up and walked back. Lung Qiu broke away from her sisters and came before Chu Li. "Head chief, what happened to Lung Tao?" Chu Li smiled. "What bad luck?" Lung Qiu hurriedly asked. "He won't die, right?" If he really stabbed Guling Tao and caused Guling Tao's death, then his sin would be too great. Chu Li said, "I won't die." Zhu Tianhua quickly brought Lung Tao back. Chu Li stepped forward and tossed a jade bottle over. "There's a spirit blessing pill inside. Take it." Lung Tao was wearing a full set of armor. His face was as pale as paper as he glared at him hatefully. "Thank you so much." If he hadn't been injured, he wouldn't have been injured. Chu Li said, "If you don't want to die, then take this spirit blessing pill. Otherwise, you won't be able to make it back to the public house. I'm not trying to scare you." Lung Tao's expression changed slightly. Chu Li said, "His internal organs are ruptured, and he's bleeding nonstop. It seems that this protector of yours isn't very familiar with injuries." Lung Tao scoffed. "You don't have to worry about it. All right, then take back the spirit blessing pill. One pill for one life. It's very precious." Chu Li extended his hand. Zhu Tianhua hurriedly said, "Thank you, head chief." He immediately poured out the spirit blessing pill and stuffed it into Lung Tao's mouth. Lung Tao only felt a clear current entering his body. In the blink of an eye, it circled around his body. The original pain and weakness disappeared, the cold disappeared, and was replaced with a warm and comfortable feeling, as expected of the spirit blessing pill. Chu Li grinned. "Crown Prince Tao, you want Brother Zhu to kill me, don't you?" Lung Tao's expression changed slightly. He scoffed. "How did you know?" Chu Li said, "You owe me a life now." Lung Tao gritted his teeth. "What do you want? Give this Brother Zhu to me." Chu Li smiled. "In your dreams." Lung Tao shouted. Chu Li said, "Your life is not enough to exchange for Brother Zhu. Change your condition." Lung Tao scoffed. "Moreover, even if I don't accept the spirit blessing pill, I won't die. You should know how serious your injuries are." Chu Li shook his head. "Did you feel cold just now? That's the sign of your life fading away. You'll understand when you go back. I can't give Protector Zhu to you. Just give up." Lung Tao said, "You have Qin Kong anyway." Chu Li said, "One more protector is not much. All right, I only have this one request. If you don't want to give it to me, then forget it." Chu Li, what do you mean? Lung Tao said. Chu Li said, "I'll ask King Cheng for it. I'm sure in King Cheng's eyes, you're worth more than a protector, right?" Why do you insist on asking for Protector Zhu? Lung Tao frowned. Chu Li said, because I like people who are loyal to their relationships. I'll redeem Miss Mu Qing too. 100,000 taels of silver. Lung Tao laughed coldly. You have it? I don't have 100,000 taels of silver. Chu Li shook his head. But Brother Zhu, you should understand that even if you have 100,000 taels of silver, you won't be able to redeem someone from the verdant cloud brothel if you don't have enough backing. Zhu Tianhua took a deep breath and slowly nodded. If it was a normal brothel, he would have robbed it with his status as a grandmaster. Unfortunately, the verdant cloud brothel was the top brothel in the fairy's capital. There were 4 grandmasters as protectors. He had no confidence in robbing Mu Qing. More importantly, it was said that Mu Qing was poisoned. Without the antidote, robbing her would be useless. He might even harm her. Chu Li said, even someone like Prince Tao might not be useful. Lung Tao scoffed. Nonsense. Chu Li said, I'm from the Secret Guardian's Hall now. My words should be more useful than Prince Tao, right? At this moment, Lu Xing galloped over on his horse. He landed in front of Chu Li and presented a thin piece of paper with both hands. Chu Li nodded in satisfaction and passed it to Zhu Tianhua. Brother Zhu, this is for you. Zhu Tianhua shook his head. Chu Li said, this is Miss Mu Qing's contract. Are you sure you don't need it? Zhu Tianhua's expression changed. He quickly reached out to receive it. Chu Li, you're trying to steal my woman. Lung Tao gritted his teeth and stared at him fiercely. You're too cruel. Chu Li said, don't forget, you owe me a life. He was forced to save Lung Tao, but since he did, he naturally wanted to get back at him. Zhu Tianhua was roped in by Lung Tao. His cultivation level was high, and he was a good helper. It would be best to keep him by his side and order him around. Lung Tao scoffed. You're asking for repayment. You're too despicable. I like it that way. Do you agree or not? Chu Li smiled. Brother Zhu, I'll be waiting for you at the imperial residence. Miss Mu Qing is there. He stood up and returned to Xiao Shi's side. Xiao Shi glanced at Lung Tao. Wouldn't it be better to let this guy die? His death is not to be regretted, but we're in trouble. Chu Li said, Prince Chung only had this one son. If he really died, he would definitely go crazy. He was not afraid, but he was afraid that he would harm Lung Qiu and Lung Qing. He might not be able to protect them. These days, he liked Lung Qiu and Lung Qing very much. He could not bear to see them die. Xiao Shi said, can you get Zhu Tianhua over? It won't be easy. Chu Li smiled. He's a good helper. Prince Chung will not let him go. But you still want him. That body contract can force him to come here. Chu Li smiled. Chapter 5:23. P.S. I overdraft yesterday. I don't know if I can break through today. I'll try my best. Everyone, let's have some excitement. The hunting ceremony ended peacefully. This time, the Holy Church of Light did not cause any trouble, and the teams fought fiercely. Lung Qiu sat on the back of the horse, her towering chest puffed out, and she was in high spirits. Lung Qing shook her head without end, and she felt that this little sister of hers was a little too excited. However, he also understood her. She had been bullied for more than 10 years. Now that she had gotten her revenge and turned over a new leaf, she could finally be at ease and fearless. If it were him, he would definitely be excited as well. When Chu Li saw Lung Qiu like this, he could not help but laugh to himself. However, he felt that he had to give her a taste of suffering and pour cold water on her so that she would not become muddle-headed and think that she was invincible. Lu Xing came over and whispered, Head Chief. Chu Li asked, how much did you spend? I didn't spend any money. Lu Xing lowered his voice. I found the two secret guardians, Dong Qifei and Yang Zongwen, and then went to the Verdant Cloud brothel. The madam readily handed over the person and the contract. So easy to talk to? Chuli raised his eyebrows. As the first tower in Fairy's capital, the Verdant Cloud brothel must have a strong background. Although he was in the limelight as a head chief, he might not be taken seriously by them, so he had to rely on the secret guardians hall. Lu Xing said, "It is said that this family's backer is Prince Bao, so no one dares to mess around." The madam is very confident. She said that she only agreed because of the head chief. "I can't accept a favor of 100,000 taels." Chuli said, "Send the money over later." "Yes." Lu Xing nodded. Chuli was deep in thought. Previously, he did not pay attention to the Verdant Cloud brothel because he felt that its backer was too strong, and it was not something that he could touch. Later on, with the secret guardians hall, he had enough information to use. The price of infiltrating the Verdant Cloud brothel was too high. If the Verdant Cloud brothel could be infiltrated so easily, it would not exist anymore. He did not expect it to be opened by Prince Bao. This was interesting. Prince Bao did not seem like such a person. This kind of money was not easy to earn, and it would tarnish his reputation. However, after thinking about it for a while, he thought about it again. Tarnishing his reputation was exactly what Prince Bao needed. "How is Miss Mu Qing?" "Very beautiful." Lu Xing praised. Chuli furrowed his brows. Lu Xing realized that he had misunderstood and said with some embarrassment, "She's fine. There's nothing wrong with her." Be careful. If you meet someone with an unyielding character and end your life, it'll be self-defeating. Chuli said, "Let them watch carefully." "Yes." Lu Xing quickly nodded. Chuli waved his hand. Lu Xing retreated lightly and urged his horse to move faster. Xiaoshi watched as Lung Tao and his men slowly left. She chuckled. "Will your wish come true?" Chuli smiled and nodded. "It's hard to predict a person's heart. Let's just watch. I think this guy is quite loyal. He won't abandon Prince Cheng's residence. That depends on whether the king is worthy of his loyalty. He can't resist the power of a woman." Chuli shook his head. "Men can't stand beautiful women. It's in their nature. Aren't you able to withstand it?" Xiaoshi cast a sidelong glance at him. Chuli smiled and shook his head. Xiaoshi said, "You don't seem to be in a good mood today. Are you feeling down because you didn't see someone?" "Miss, what do you want to say? Don't think I can't tell." Xiaoshi chuckled. "You want to see Lu Yurong, right?" Li was a little guilty, but he calmly shook his head. "Miss, you can really imagine things. Let's go back quickly." Although he didn't like Lu Yurong, a beauty was pleasing to the eye. Not being able to see her would make him sad. Xiaoshi scoffed and rolled her eyes at him. Chuli did not go to see Mu Qing. She lived in a small courtyard and was served by two maids. Mu Qing's body was slender like a willow branch. Although her looks were not as good as Xiaoshi's, she was still a rare beauty. Her facial features were exquisite and lovely. Chuli sighed. No wonder Zhu Tianhua was so loyal to her and broke the rules of the faction for her. He used the omniscient mirror to observe her temperament. For someone like Zhu Tianhua, once he was with her, he would be the softest and would definitely listen to her. If Mu Qing's temperament was not good enough, it was better to send her far away to prevent himself from raising a tiger. Fortunately, Mu Qing was a good woman. From what he saw, she was indifferent and did not care much about worldly things. She liked books and poetry, not martial arts, and also liked fighting. In the early morning, Chuli was cultivating in the courtyard. Lung Qiu and Lung Qing were there. They liked it here and felt that it was more refreshing and pleasant than the other courtyards. Chuli let them be. Song Luiying and Xuaningyu were worried that their daughter would fall for Chu Li, but after a while, they felt that they were worrying too much. The two girls did not have such feelings, and neither did Chu Li. It was just a simple friendship. Chief Zhu's voice came from outside. Head Chief, there is a young man named Zhu Tianhua outside. He wants to see you. Bring him to the lady, Chu Li said. Yes, Chief Zhu replied respectfully and slowly walked away. Lung Qiu and Lung Qing put down their swords. They were dressed in tight clothes and looked valiant. After defeating Lung Tao, they became more interested in swordsmanship and continued to cultivate. Zhu Tianhua? Is he Lung Tao's protector? Lung Qiu asked. Zhu Tianhua was tall and burly, especially eye-catching. Chu Li nodded. What is he doing here? Lung Qing frowned. Is he really going to seek refuge with the head chief? Or is he going to assassinate the head chief? I don't know about that. Chu Li smiled. He had already seen Zhu Tianhua. Lung Qing said, his martial arts is very good, right? His cultivation level is not bad. Chu Li nodded, a level higher than Lu Xing and the others. That is rare. Lung Qing was surprised. The strength of our public house has increased a little. Chu Li shook his head and laughed. He might not be willing to join us. Lu Xing. Chu Li raised his voice. Lu Xing landed in the courtyard and closed fist saluted, Head Chief. The four of you go and secretly watch over Mu Qing. Chu Li said, don't let anyone kidnap her. That's impossible. Lu Xing was stunned. Zhu Tianhua is here. The two of them are about to meet. Chu Li smiled. We must guard against him snatching her and running away. Yes, Lu Xing nodded. He brought Xiang Fei Xue and the other two to the courtyard where Mu Qing was and hid in the dark. Under Chief Zhu's lead, Zhu Tianhua came to the outside of a courtyard. Chief Zhu smiled. This is Miss Mu Qing's residence. Young Master Zhu, please go in and take a look. Miss Mu Qing is not in a good mood. Thank you, Chief Zhu. Zhu Tianhua closed fist saluted. Chief Zhu said, everything will be according to the head chief's instructions. I shall not disturb the two of you. He closed fist saluted with a smile and turned to leave. Zhu Tianhua took a look around. This courtyard had a single door with a moon gate. A few green bamboos poked out from the top of the wall, revealing a sense of tranquility. As expected of the imperial residence, it was exquisite and elegant. There were no protectors around. It seemed like they trusted him. He suppressed his excitement and slowly pushed the door open. He stepped into the courtyard and saw the delicate figure in the middle of the courtyard that he yearned for day and night. Miss Mu, he called softly. A delicate and slender woman was standing in front of the green bamboos. Her facial features were exquisite and lovely. Her clear eyes were like water, quietly admiring the strong posture of the bamboos. The tender green reflected vitality, trying hard to disperse her melancholy emotions. She was a weak woman. Her fate was beyond her control. She was like a plaything that was admired, sold to the verdant cloud brothel, and now redeemed. Until now, she had not met her future owner. She did not know what kind of fate was waiting for her. Chapter 5:24. When she heard the call, she immediately turned her head and looked over. Her lovely face was instantly filled with surprise. She said in surprise, Master Zhu? Zhu Tianhua nodded hard. It's me. The two of them were very close and looked at each other. Mu Qing's beautiful face was glowing. She did not expect him to suddenly appear in front of her. Her lover, who was highly skilled in martial arts, had always been her hope. She always believed that he would bring her away from here and live a normal life. Master Zhu, did you redeem my freedom? She asked in surprise. Zhu Tianhua was stunned. He looked embarrassed and shook his head. It wasn't me. Ah. Mu Qing's expression changed as well. She was shocked. Then why is Master Zhu here? I came to see you, Zhu Tianhua said. Mu Qing smiled in despair and nodded lightly. It really wasn't him. It was Prince, and Zhu Tianhua's heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. He could not let Mu Qing down anymore. He must save her from this world. He hated himself for being so useless. He had unparalleled martial arts, but he could only watch helplessly as the woman he loved was trapped in this world. He joined the imperial residence of King Cheng just to save Mu Qing. But just when he had a glimmer of hope, Mu Qing was immediately redeemed. No matter how much money he had, he could not have more than Chu Li. No matter how much power he had, he could not be more powerful than Chu Li. His martial arts was also not as good as Chu Li's. Thinking about this, he gritted his teeth. A strong urge surged in his heart. Mu Qing forced a smile and advised, Master Zhu knows her. It's better than not knowing her. Zhu Tianhua forced a smile and sighed. Miss Mu, let's go. Mu Qing was stunned. Zhu Tianhua looked around. There were no protectors. He said softly, I'll bring you out. This is the imperial residence. Mu Qing quickly said. Once she entered the imperial residence, it was unfathomable in her eyes. It was heavily guarded. She never thought that she could escape from the imperial residence. Zhu Tianhua said, So what if it's the imperial residence? I can escape. Princeton will not let this go. Mu Qing shook her head. Master Zhu will always be hunted. You will have to wander the world. Zhu Tianhua said, As long as I can be with you, it doesn't matter even if I'm hunted. We will find a deep forest and live in a place with no people. I can't do that. Mu Qing shook her head and refused. There are many good women in the world. Young Master Zhu is such a hero. There are too many women who like you. No matter how many women there are, I only care about you, Zhu Tianhua said in a deep voice. He stared at her. Miss Mu, are you afraid? Mu Qing nodded lightly. I'm afraid, young Master Zhu. I can't go with you. She was not an inexperienced lady. She knew how powerful a royal highness was. Master Zhu was a grandmaster with exceptional martial arts skills, but in the imperial residence, there were no less than a few grandmasters. If he were to provoke King, he would be hunted down by a few grandmasters. No matter how powerful his martial arts were, he would not be able to fight them. In the end, he would die. If he died because of her, then what was the point of living? Rather than falling into that situation, it was better not to do stupid things and bear the burden alone. She had to let go of him. She couldn't hold him back anymore. He was a peerless master in the Grandmaster's boundary. As long as he did not worry about himself, he could live a good life. Zhu Tianhua frowned. Don't tell me you want to live the life of a superior like the imperial residence. Mu Qing pursed her red lips and shook her head. There is a head chief Chu Li in the imperial residence of King, and he is very powerful. Humph, Chu Li. I've seen him before. Zhu Tianhua said unhappily. The woman he admired said that another man was powerful. It was not pleasing to his ears. He is very powerful. We won't be able to escape from him. Mu Qing sighed faintly. She had heard too much news about head chief Chu at the Verdant Cloud brothel. In her eyes, Chu Li's appearance might be similar to Zhu Tianhua's, but he was more ruthless and cruel than Zhu Tianhua. He killed grandmasters like he was slaughtering chickens. This was a demon-like man. Once Zhu Tianhua offended him, he would not be able to escape from his evil clutches. He would die in his hands. That might not be true, Zhu Tianhua said unhappily. He was a little jealous. No matter how powerful he is still a human. He is not that powerful. Most of the rumors outside are exaggerated. Don't believe them. Let's go. Master Zhu, forget about me. Mu Qing shook her head. I have already redeemed my freedom. I am someone else's woman. We are not fated in this life. I will repay your kindness in my next life. Zhu Tianhua frowned. Miss Mu, I can escape. Listen to me. Let's go now. Master Zhu. Mu Qing wanted to say more, but Zhu Tianhua carried her up. He said softly, Don't talk. Let's break out of here. Then we will find a deep mountain. No one will be able to find us. As he finished, he floated up and skimmed over the wall. He looked left, and right after he landed, there was indeed no one. He went around a moon door. His expression changed. He saw Lu Xing standing behind the moon door with his hands behind his back. He was like a jade tree facing the wind. He looked at them quietly. Lu Xing closed fist saluted. He smiled faintly. What is Master Zhu trying to do? Miss Mu Qing is now the head chief's woman. Is Master Zhu trying to steal the head chief's woman? Nonsense. Since when did Miss Mu become Chu Li's woman? If it wasn't for the head chief's reputation and Prince Bao's favor, who else would be able to redeem Miss Mu Qing? Lu Xing shook his head. Master Zhu, no matter how strong your martial arts is, no matter how much money you have, it is not worth mentioning in front of Prince Bao. Do you think you can redeem Miss Mu Qing? I want to take Miss Mu away, Zhu Tianhua said. Lu Xing smiled. Then you should at least give the head chief an explanation, right? What explanation? Zhu Tianhua scoffed. Lu Xing smiled. What do you think, Master Zhu? 100,000 taels of silver, and a favor from Prince Bao. I'm afraid you can't repay it. I don't care. I want to take Miss Mu away, now. Zhu Tianhua scoffed. If that's the case, then we can only offend you. Stealing the head chief's woman will cost you your life. Lu Xing shook his head. Then let's try. Zhu Tianhua was unconvinced. Chu Li is nothing special. He was not convinced by Chu Li from the bottom of his heart. That was why he did not want to become his subordinate. He would rather steal Mu Qing and run. As long as he ran to the imperial residence of King Cheng, Chu Li would not be able to do anything to him based on his abilities. As soon as he finished speaking, he put Mu Qing down and dashed forward. His body was tall and burly. As he dashed forward, he was like a ferocious beast descending the mountain. Lu Xing shook his head. You don't know what's good for you. The two of them instantly got into a fight. Zhu Tianhua's body was tall and burly. His palms were like cattail leaf fans. Every palm was fierce and unstoppable. Lu Xing's body movement technique was extremely fast. No matter how fierce Zhu Tianhua's palm energy was, he could not touch Lu Xing's body. The two of them fought for more than 100 moves in one go. Mu Qing's light purple gown fluttered. She was shaken by the palm energy, and her body could not help but slowly retreat. Chapter 5:25. Zhu Tianhua felt that Lu Xing was troublesome to deal with. Lu Xing's cultivation level was obviously lower than his, yet he could not defeat him. Lu Xing was slippery. The more anxious he was, the more helpless he was. Suddenly hearing someone behind him, he turned his head and saw Xiang Feishue standing in front of Mu Qing. His heart sank. Lu Xing chuckled. Zhu Tianhua, with your abilities, you must be joking if you think you can defeat the head chief. We can't even take one move from the head chief. Humph, then let me show you. Zhu Tianhua sneered. His body suddenly expanded and became 3 times bigger. He shot towards Lu Xing like lightning and hit Lu Xing with his palm. Lu Xing met the attack with his right palm and flew backwards with a bang. Xiang Feishue smiled and said, Amazing! Lu Xing shouted from the sky. He used a secret technique. Be careful! Xiang Feishua's light body technique was also top-notch. He took a step to the back of Zhu Tianhua and struck his back with his palm. Zhu Tianhua's huge body was exceptionally agile. He twisted his body and struck out with his palm. Bam! Xiang Feishue also flew into the air. Lu Xing made a turn in the air and dove down. Bam! Zhu Tianhua sent him flying with another palm strike. Xiang Feishue also made a turn in the air and dove down in the opposite direction. He was hit by Zhu Tianhua's palm and flew up again. Lu Xing and Xiang Feishue swooped down like two golden eagles. Zhu Tianhua activated his secret technique, and his internal energy increased by several folds. The two of them had excellent lightness technique and used it to negate most of the force, but they still felt their blood and qi churning. Their faces gradually turned pale, and they could not take more than a few hits. Xiang Feishue, looks like we have to risk our lives too, Lu Xing said. He had never wanted to use the secret technique. After using it, he had to rest for 2 days. It was very uncomfortable, so he tried not to use it if he could. Zhu Tianhua's level of cultivation was extremely high when he activated his secret technique. He was far more powerful than the two of them. These few palm strikes were already strenuous for him. A few more strikes, and he would be completely injured. Hey, are you two just here to watch the show? Lu Xing shouted. A laugh could be heard. The two of you can't even deal with Zhu Tianhua. It's too embarrassing. You don't dare to show yourselves. Lu Xing snorted helplessly. You guys are forcing us to use our secret skills. How mean. As soon as he said that, he sped up and activated his secret skill. Bam, 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 bam. Amidst a series of muffled sounds, Lu Xing and Xiang Feishue attacked from the left and right continuously. Zhu Tianhua was more than enough to deal with one of them, but when the two of them attacked together, he was unable to withstand it and kept retreating. Mu Qing stared at the scene nervously, her gown fluttering in the wind. Old Zhu, you better fall. Lu Xing shouted and struck Zhu Tianhua with his palm. Zhu Tianhua was hit by the palm. His face flushed red like he was drunk, but he suppressed his injuries and sped up his movement technique. He grabbed Mu Qing and ran like a wisp of smoke. Bam, 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 bam. Lu Xing and Xiang Feishue's light body technique were top-notch. They blocked his path and exchanged more than 10 palms. Uffed, Zhu Tianhua spat out a mouthful of blood. His body became weak. Young Master Zhu, Mu Qing screamed. Forget it, let them go. Chu Li's voice rang out. Yes, head chief. Xiang Feishue and Lu Xing stepped back. Zhu Tianhua turned his head to look at Chu Li, who had appeared out of nowhere. He gritted his teeth, carried Mu Qing, turned around, and shot out. Chu Li looked at his huge silhouette disappearing and smiled. Huo Yuhao and Ing Wuqiu followed him out. The four of them stood behind Chu Li and watched as Zhu Tianhua gradually disappeared. Head chief, are we really letting him go? Lu Xing said. He is indeed a good fighter, stronger than us. Xiang Feishue pouted. Zhu Tianhua's cultivation level was higher, but his light body technique was not as good. He had no advantage over them. Chu Li smiled and said, Take it slow. He is arrogant. He needs to be polished. Secret guardians Hall Dong Qifei put down the dossier and stretched his back. He sighed and stood up from the table. Old Yang, let's go out for some fresh air. Yang Zongwen was looking down at the dossier. He waved his hand. Go ahead, I'll finish this. What's there to read? Dong Qifei said. Reading dossiers all day long. People are going to rust. Tell that to the centurion. Yang Zongwen did not even raise his head. Dong Qifei scoffed. What is the centurion doing? How many days has it been since he came? He said he wanted to have a good rest, and the commander agreed. Yang Zongwen said, "Let's not worry about this. Let's focus on the dossier. Otherwise, when the Centurion asks, we can only stare at him. Things are different now." Sigh, "That's true." Dong Qifei looked at the wing opposite. At this moment, two fat men walked out from the kitchen opposite. One was fat, and the other fat. They walked slowly to the courtyard and sat by the stone table. They brewed a pot of tea and poured a cup for each of them. Then they held the teacups and chatted. These two brothers. Dong Qifei scoffed unhappily. They are so relaxed, they don't even need to read the dossier. What they are doing is more dangerous. Yang Zongwen said, "They may look relaxed now, but once something happens, they will rush to the front. Their lives are on the line." "How many days has it been?" "They haven't done anything." "That's because the Centurion did not let them move." As the two were talking, someone pushed open the door and entered the courtyard. Dong Qifei and Yang Zongwen looked. It was the Centurion Ma Kuan. The two quickly came out to welcome him. "Hey, Centurion Ma, sorry for not welcoming you." Dong Qifei quickly closed fist saluted. Ma Kuan glanced at the two and waved his hand. "No need for formalities. I'm here to look for Big Ning and Little Ning." The two had already stood up from the stone table and closed fist saluted. "Centurion Ma, what can I do for you?" The three of them were friends who had gone through life and death together. When they encountered the three people from the Holy Church of Light, if they did not cooperate with each other, none of them would have escaped. "Buyuan, I have a case here. The murderer killed a constable in the city and escaped." Ma Kuan shook his head. "He's so daring, we have to kill him." "Which city?" Ning Buyuan asked. "Billow River City," Ma Kuan said. "It's 500 miles away from Fairy's capital. 1 day to get there." "Good." Ning Buyuan smiled. "Killing a constable looks like his martial art is not bad." "Exactly. His light body technique is good too. That's why no one could catch up to him." Ma Kuan slammed the stone table and said hatefully, "He's lawless. If we don't kill him, we won't be able to appease the people." "All right, let's go after him." Ning Buyuan smiled. "Hold on." Ning Zhongyuan quickly waved his hand. "Big brother, don't rush. Centurion Ma, does Centurion Chu know about this?" "Him." Ma Kuan sneered. "How can I meet such a busy man like him?" Ning Zhongyuan said awkwardly, "This is troublesome. Centurion Ma, you know that we're now Centurion Chu's subordinates, whether we want to go out or not. We still need his permission. Without Centurion Chu's permission, we really don't dare to leave the city. Just take it as a small favor." Ma Kuan said, "What kind of relationship do we have? Such a small matter is not worth telling him." Ning Buyuan quickly nodded. That's right. It's just a small favor." Ning Zhongyuan said, "It's better to let Centurion Chu know. Maybe Centurion Chu has some instructions for us. We'll be in trouble if we leave first." "That's true." Ning Buyuan nodded. They were now Centurion Chu's subordinates. If they hastily helped someone else without telling him, it would not be right. "I'll let Centurion Chu know first. We'll depart tomorrow," Ning Buyuan said. Ma Kuan smiled. "All right, straightforward." Chapter 5:26. Once Ma Kuan walked out of the courtyard, Ning Zhongyuan immediately called out, "Big brother, you're muddle-headed." Dong Qifei shook his head. "Yes, I am." Ning Buyuan said indifferently, "It's just a small matter. I'll be back in 2 days. We have nothing to do anyway. The Centurion won't mind if we don't do anything for more than 10 days. "Won't mind?" Dong Qifei laughed. Ning Buyuan looked at his strange smile and closed fist saluted. "Brother Dong, you've been with the Centurion for a long time. Please guide me." Sigh. Dong Qifei shook his head and sighed in satisfaction. The Ning brothers had a very high position in the secret guardians hall. Their tracking skills were top-notch. The house needed them. And he was just a pawn. He was proud to be treated so politely. He tried his best to explain, the Centurion doesn't have a good relationship with this Ma Kuan. The Ning brothers were not stupid. They knew something was wrong when they heard it. They recalled the situation in the main hall. Ma Kuan was aggressive towards Centurion Chu, but Centurion Chu was calm, as if he did not care about what he said, did not argue with him, and let him force him. Is it an enemy? Ning Zhongyuan quickly asked. Dong Qifei said. More or less, Centurion Chu is a magnanimous man. He did not lower himself to Ma Kuan's level, but this Ma Kuan kept finding fault with him. Centurion Chu is a centurion now. How could he let him do as he pleases? Why is it like this? Centurion Ma would not go against Centurion Chu for no reason, right? Ning Zhongyuan frowned. Centurion Ma's nephew died in the imperial residence of King and Princess Sio's hands. Dong Yufei said, then looked at the brothers with a smile. The Ning brothers suddenly understood. They could guess the rest. Ma Kuan must have been indignant and wanted to take revenge, but the secret guardians hall did not allow internal strife, so he had been targeting Centurion Chu at every turn, going against him and finding fault with him. He wanted to provoke Centurion Chu's anger to the point that he would attack him. Once he attacked, Ma Kuan would have a reason to attack. Even if he killed Centurion Chu, his crime would not be that serious. Although this method was not brilliant, it was very effective. Think about it. If you agree, what will happen to our Centurion? Dong Qifei shook his head and said, so, we still have to ask Centurion Chu about this. Yes, I was thinking too simply. Ning Buiyuan quickly nodded. He was shocked. If he really went to help, he would be in big trouble. Centurion Chu was not an ordinary person. He was smart and capable, and his methods were outstanding. They were under Centurion Chu's command. As long as Centurion Chu played some dirty tricks, the two of them would not have an easy time. They might have to keep running around outside, and they might not even get the credit. In any case, there were plenty of ways to deal with them. Sigh, it's all thanks to Brother Dong. Ning Buiyuan nodded with lingering fear in his heart. Dong Qifei smiled and said, it's nothing. We're from the same academy, so of course we have to take care of each other. Shall we go to the imperial residence and ask? Ning Buiyuan humbly asked for guidance. Dong Qifei shook his head and said, no need, we'll pretend we don't know about this. Oh, Ning Buiyuan furrowed his brows and thought for a while before he nodded. I understand now. Just pretend you don't know anything. Ning Zhongyuan smiled and said, Big brother, you're finally enlightened. You scared me. Although they had been through life and death situations with Ma Kuan, they could not do anything about this. They had to lower their heads when they were under someone else's roof. They could not put themselves in a difficult situation just to help him. Moreover, they did not have to do this case. There was no need for them to sacrifice themselves for others. The next morning, Ma Kuan came over again and said loudly, Big Ning, Young Ning, let's go. Ning Buiyuan and Ning Zhongyuan came out from the side room. They closed-fist saluted and said helplessly, I'm really sorry we have a mission today. Why don't you tell Centurion Chu first? Tell him? Ma Kuan's face darkened for a while. Then he smiled and said, Is it worth telling him about such a small matter? He's busy with important matters. We really don't dare to make the decision, Ning Buiyuan said helplessly. Ma Kuan's face darkened and scoffed. Why, you're not even going to help such a small group. What small group? Chu Li's voice was heard. He was dressed in a white robe and slowly walked into the courtyard. Ning Buiyuan and Ning Zhongyuan closed-fist saluted as if they had been pardoned. They were secretly grateful to Dong Qifei. As expected, he went to the imperial residence and secretly told the centurion about the matter. Ma Kuan frowned and looked at Chu Li. Chu Li closed-fist saluted and smiled faintly. "Senior Ma, it's a blessing to have you here. What can I do for you?" Ma Kuan clenched his teeth. He did not want to talk to him, but he really had to say it. He could only bite the bullet and scoffed. "There's a murderer that escaped from my side. I need the Ning brothers to track him down." Chu Li said, "You don't need the Ning brothers for such a small matter. If I could catch him myself, why would I need the Ning brothers? Although the Ning brothers are your subordinates, they are also people of the Secret Guardians Hall." Ma Kuan said impatiently. Chu Li smiled and said, "Then you can look for the commander. I will naturally follow the commander's orders. As for you, Senior Ma, they have other things to do. They don't have the time to care about other people's business." "Chu Li, you're taking revenge on purpose, aren't you?" Ma Kuan's face darkened. He glared at him. "Is this how narrow-minded you are?" Chu Li shook his head and sighed. "Senior Ma, you're wrong. If I help you, I'm broad-minded. If I don't, I'm narrow-minded. Everyone has to revolve around you. Chu Li, don't forget that there will be a time when you need my help." Ma Kuan threatened, "Don't go overboard. We'll meet again in the future." Chu Li smiled. "Yes, thank you for the reminder, Senior Ma. I'll return this to you. Have a safe trip. I won't see you out." As he said that, he turned and entered the main hall. "Chu Li, I'll look for the commander." Ma Kuan scoffed. Chu Li did not care about him. He could finally vent his anger. He had been holding it in and did not fall for his tricks. He wanted to control the Secret Guardians Hall. He could not lose the bigger picture because of a small gain. Today was an opportunity that came knocking on his door. If he let it go, he would be letting himself down. Even if the commander knew about it, he could not say anything. "If you can do 30, I can do 15. The Ning brothers followed him into the house. "You've done well." Chu Li looked at the two of them with satisfaction. The two of them were also secretly looking at him. They were extremely curious about this rising star of the Secret Guardians Hall, especially his tracking skill. However, this was an exclusive secret technique. He would not reveal it easily. They would get along well with each other. Once their relationship was deep enough, they might reveal some of the secrets. They were the most obsessed with tracking skills. That was why they were so successful. The full Cloud camp was destroyed. Go and see what happened. Chu Li picked up a file on the table and passed it to Ning Buyuan. "I think there's something fishy about this. Investigate it carefully." Yes. The two of them understood. They knew that Chu Li was purposely sending them away, so that Ma Kuan would not have a chance. Chu Li shook his head. "This is not just a grudge. This case is very important. Keep your spirits up and investigate carefully. Don't get yourselves involved." "Yes." The two of them said, "Seriously." Chu Li waved his hand. "Move immediately." "Yes." The two of them closed-fist saluted and left the main hall. Chapter 5:27. Dong Qifei and Yang Zongwen came to the main hall from the East Wing. They avoided Ma Kuan just now to prevent him from taking his anger out on them. Ma Kuan could not do anything to Centurion Chu, but he could do something to the two of them. If he really wanted to cause trouble, it would be hard to escape. Chu Li glanced at the two of them. "Any other news?" "Centurion, we just received news that the people from Full Cloud Camp were killed by a strong inner energy. There was also a strong and overbearing finger force that crushed their throats and even crushed their arms," Yang Zongwen said. Chu Li frowned. "Strong and overbearing finger force. There are plenty of finger forces like that." "Yes, but this person's cultivation level was very high. He could kill everyone in the camp in one go." A normal person would not be able to do that. Yang Zongwen said. Chu Li said, "Are you sure it was done by one person?" "It's been determined." Yang Zongwen nodded. "This case was originally handed over to the imperial court. They had no clues and could not solve the case, so they could only hand it over to us. It's been 10 days. I'm afraid it's hard to find any clues." "Did the murderer leave anything behind?" Chu Li asked. Yang Zongwen shook his head. "He was very clean and did not leave anything behind. It's up to the Ning brothers now. Their tracking skills are amazing. They might be able to find something." Chu Li nodded slowly and looked at Dong Qifei. "Be careful. Don't think about going out all day." "Centurion, I'm not cut out for this," Dong Qifei said, helplessly. He wanted to be like Yang Zongwen, able to answer the Centurion's questions without hesitation. However, he would feel dizzy every time he looked at the dossier. His head would feel heavy, and he could not lift his spirits. Even if he pinched his thighs to wake himself up, it was useless. After a while, he would revert back to his old habits. Chu Li sighed. "You'll have a limited future like this." "Hee, as long as I'm with the Centurion, I can do anything." Dong Qifei laughed. Chu Li laughed and pointed at him. This flattery was too direct. There was no standard at all. Yang Zongwen was smiling. He knew Dong Qifei's temperament. It was indeed more suitable to run around outside. He could not stay in the house. He had been stifled for a while. Chu Li said, "If Ma Kuan is unreasonable in the future, you guys can just leave. Don't talk to him." He was also worried that Ma Kuan would vent his anger on the two of them after failing to harm him, or even purposely humiliate the two of them to anger him. Yes, the two nodded hurriedly. They groaned inwardly. When the immortals fought, the little devils suffered. Their good days were coming to an end. Chu Li said, "You guys will depart after a while. Follow behind the Ning brothers and save them when the time comes." "Don't let them find out?" Yang Zongwen asked hurriedly. Chu Li nodded. "Don't let them find out, and don't let anyone else find out either. Watch how they investigate the case, and learn from them. If you show yourselves, they won't reveal their true abilities." The Ning brothers treasured their family's tracking technique very much and would never pass it on to others. Even if the secret guardians Hall wanted to buy it at a high price, they would not agree to it. The secret guardians Hall did not force him either. The secret guardians Hall treated their own people well. Yes. The two nodded hurriedly. Chu Li waved his hand, and the two of them left the room. After Lung Tao finished his breakfast, he entered Zhu Tianhua's courtyard. When he saw Mu Qing's beautiful figure, his eyes immediately lit up. Zhu Tianhua saw his expression and was secretly unhappy, but he did not show it. He coughed softly. "Imperial Crown Prince, please have some tea." Mu Qing served the teacup and retreated. Lung Tao stared at her as she left. He did not move. No wonder Zhu Tianhua worked so hard. He was indeed a seductive vixen. Look at that pitiful look, that soft and slender waist. Oh, if she were to wiggle on the bed, how ecstatic would that be? When he thought of that, he was almost drooling. Zhu Tianhua frowned and looked at him. "Imperial Crown Prince, please have some tea." Zhu Tianhua scoffed. Zhu Tianhua became more and more disappointed with Lung Tao. If it was not to borrow Prince Cheng's power to redeem Mu Qing, he would never step into the imperial residence of Prince Cheng. Lung Tao came back to his senses. Oh. He looked at Zhu Tianhua and chuckled. "Elder Zhu, you are so lucky." "It's all right." Zhu Tianhua let out a smile. Lung Tao sighed. "I have never met such a stunning beauty. There are many stunning beauties in the fairies' capital." Zhu Tianhua said that was what he felt the most. Although there were beauties in the small town, they were rare. When he arrived at the fairy's capital, he realized how big the world was. There were so many beauties. It was as if all of them were gathered in the fairy's capital. Just like in the verdant cloud brothel, every one of them was a beauty, even if there were some who could not win against Mu Qing. The difference would not be too big. Hee, all those stunning beauties had been snatched away. Lung Tao said angrily, "It's not my turn yet. How is that possible?" Zhu Tianhua shook his head. "You are the imperial crown prince. Let's talk about the first beauty of the great Ji dynasty. She married Uncle N. Their age difference is more than 20 years. Lung Tao said angrily. Zhu Tianhua praised. "Princess Xiao is indeed very beautiful." Even if he felt that Mu Qing was beautiful and could not help but be intoxicated, he could not deny that Princess Xiao was more beautiful than Mu Qing. It was just that Mu Qing had a unique aura that attracted him. Princess Shui, on the other hand, was unattainable. Looking at her for a long time would make him feel humble and insignificant. If it wasn't for Princess Xiao's beauty, would Chu Li protect her so wholeheartedly? Lung Tao scoffed. "I think that Chu Li is also a greedy and lecherous person. Didn't you say that he has never entered the verdant cloud brothel?" Zhu Tianhua said. Mu Qing said that ever since she entered the imperial residence, she had never seen anyone else. She had never seen Chu Li. He still had a knot in his heart because Mu Qing was very respectful towards Chu Li. It made him very uncomfortable. Lung Tao scoffed. With a beauty like Princess Xiao by his side, would he look at other women? Zhu Tianhua sighed and slowly nodded. "That is true. I think that there must be something going on between him and Princess Xiao." Lung Tao said. Zhu Tianhua raised his eyebrows. Lung Tao said, "If he doesn't like Princess Xiao, I will pluck my head off and kick it like a ball." Why wouldn't he like her? Zhu Tianhua shook his head and sighed. It was impossible for any man not to be tempted to spend time with such a stunning beauty like Princess Xiao. Thinking of being able to spend time with a beauty like Princess Xiao, he suddenly felt a little envious. If he became Chu Li's disciple, would he be able to see Princess Xiao all day long? He really liked Mu Qing, but to be able to see a beauty like Princess Xiao was also a great joy. It was much better than looking at Lung Tao, the lecherous fatty, all day long. "You said that you snatched Miss Mu Qing and escaped from the imperial residence of King N?" Lung Tao coughed lightly and asked in a serious manner. Zhu Tianhua nodded. "Looks like your martial arts is really powerful." Lung Tao smiled. "But you were lucky that Chu Li was coincidentally not there." "Chu Li was there," Zhu Tianhua said. Lung Tao was stunned, and his smile faded. "Chu Li was there, and you still managed to escape? You're bragging, right?" Chapter 5:28. P.S. Everyone has been so supportive, tipping me like rain, monthly votes like snow. I have to add more chapters. I'll continue. No protectors stopped you? Lung Tao asked. There were 4. What about Chu Li? Chu Li didn't do anything. Oh. Lung Tao dragged out his words. He shook his head and smiled. I really don't know what he was thinking. It's 100,000 taels of silver. He didn't stop you and let you leave with it. Yes. Zhu Tianhua nodded slowly. Afterwards, he could not understand why Chu Li did not stop him. In that situation, if Chu Li had attacked, he would not have been able to take Mu Qing away. He might not even have been able to escape. There were many masters in the imperial residence of Prince, and the 2 young men he fought with were very powerful, only slightly weaker than him. I really don't know what he's up to. Lung Tao shook his head. He pinched the teacup and frowned. He looked at Zhu Tianhua with a strange gaze. Zhu Tianhua was stunned by his stare. He quickly said, Imperial Crown Prince, you're not suspecting that I defected to him, are you? Of course not. Lung Tao quickly waved his hand. No matter how stupid I am, I would know that Chu Li is trying to sow discord, purposely making me suspicious. Zhu Tianhua smiled. Thank you for your trust, Imperial Crown Prince. Lung Tao waved his hand. I personally invited you into the imperial residence. If I don't trust you, who should I trust? All right, I've drunk my tea. I shall not disturb your sweet time. Enjoy yourself. I'll send you off, Imperial Crown Prince. Zhu Tianhua said. Before Lung Tao left, he took a deep look inside. He was a little reluctant. Unfortunately, the curtain did not move. The beauty inside did not have the intention to send him off. It really made him a little sad. He wanted to barge in to see her. Zhu Tianhua was even more unhappy. He waited for him to leave. He quickly closed the door. Mu Qing came out. She was dressed in a light purple gown. Her face was white. She was lovely. Brother Zhu, looks like we can't stay any longer. Mu Qing sighed. She shook her head. Beauty is always a source of trouble. I've harmed Brother Zhu again. Leave? Zhu Tianhua was stunned. He quickly said, It's better to stay in the imperial residence. It's safer. Chu Li can't barge, and no matter how powerful he is, he can't take you away. I'm not worried about Chu Li. Mu Qing shook her head and sighed. I'm worried about the Crown Prince. The Crown Prince relies on me a lot. What is there to worry about? Zhu Tianhua forced a smile. Mu Qing sighed. I've seen too many of those eyes of his. They are filled with malicious intentions, and he can't wait to devour me. If I don't leave now, I'm afraid I'll harm you, Brother Zhu. Sigh, it's all my fault. I should have covered my face. She sighed and shook her head. It can't be. Zhu Tianhua furrowed his brows and said, Crown Prince is someone who has seen much of the world. Why would you? As he said this, he suddenly thought of Lung Tao's previous words and stopped abruptly. He recalled Lung Tao's previous expression. Mu Qing was so beautiful. How could he not covet her? Mu Qing helped him to the stone table and sat down. She poured him another cup of tea and softly said, I am worried that he is now suspecting you, Brother Zhu. What's there to suspect? Zhu Tianhua scoffed. It's not like I have an affair with Chu Li. What's there to suspect? He's worried that you have already sided with Chu Li. Mu Qing shook her head lightly and said, He feels that you have other motives for coming back. Even if he only has a little suspicion, he will force himself to suspect you even more because of me. She was grateful to Chu Li. If it wasn't for him, she would never have left the verdant cloud brothel. Lung Tao's gaze made her feel disgusted. It was as if he had already stripped her clean. Even though she was a virgin, she knew what it meant. Zhu Tianhua furrowed his brows and did not say a word. Mu Qing sighed. Brother Zhu, you have to be careful. I'm fine. Zhu Tianhua shook his head and said, I'm only worried about you. If the Crown Prince really suspects me, we can leave the imperial residence and be free from then on. We can find a quiet place to live our lives. That's for the best. Mu Qing nodded lightly. She looked at Zhu Tianhua's unconcerned expression and sighed to herself. Was all of this within head Chief Chu's expectations? In the evening, as the sun set, Lung Tao came to Zhu Tianhua's courtyard again. Zhu Tianhua was cultivating. When he saw him, he quickly invited him to sit down and personally made tea. Where's Miss Mu Qing? Lung Tao asked disappointedly. She's not feeling well. She's resting in the house. Zhu Tianhua clumsily brewed tea and passed it to him. Lung Tao quickly waved his hand. I'm not thirsty. Not feeling well. Is she all right? Maybe she's not used to suddenly coming to a strange place. It's not a big deal. She'll be fine after resting for a while. Zhu Tianhua smiled. That won't do. If she's not feeling well, of course she needs to find a doctor. I'll get the imperial physician to take a look. Lung Tao quickly waved his hand. Crown Prince, there's really no need. If she's not feeling well tomorrow, we can get the imperial physician. Zhu Tianhua stopped him. That's fine too. Lung Tao nodded and stood up. I'll go take a look. Zhu Tianhua stopped him again. Crown Prince, there's no need. Lung Tao wanted to push his majestic body away. Don't stop me. Miss Mu Qing is sick. I can't just ignore her. Zhu Tianhua blocked him again and frowned. Crown Prince, I thank you for your concern on behalf of my wife. It's not good for her to be an outsider now. An outsider? He emphasized the word guest. I'm not an outsider, Lung Tao said disapprovingly. Zhu Tianhua said, Crown Prince, you're an outsider. You don't have to worry about my wife. Lung Tao squinted his small eyes and looked at him. Zhu Tianhua stared back at him, unwilling to back down. Both of their eyes seemed to be flickering with fire. All right. I didn't expect Elder Zhu to be so petty. Lung Tao scoffed. Zhu Tianhua said, I'm indeed petty. I hope that Crown Prince won't disturb my wife here. Lung Tao said angrily, I meant well, but you treat me like this. I'm so disappointed. I'm leaving. He turned and left after he finished speaking. Zhu Tianhua watched him leave. He frowned and sat beside the stone table. Mu Qing lifted the curtain and walked out of the house. She sighed and sat beside him. She said softly, I'm such an unlucky person. Nonsense, Zhu Tianhua said in a low voice. We shouldn't stay here any longer. We'll leave tonight. Leave. Mu Qing frowned. I'm just afraid that Lung Tao won't let us go. He's a smart person, Zhu Tianhua scoffed. He should understand that it's not a wise move to have another grandmaster. All right. Mu Qing nodded lightly. Zhu Tianhua's mind was set. He felt relieved and relaxed. He held onto Mu Qing's hand. Don't worry. I'll take good care of you. I'll definitely let you live a peaceful life. Okay. Mu Qing nodded lightly. She revealed a lovely smile. I only want to live a normal life. I don't want to be rich. Let's find a place to stay in the countryside. Zhu Tianhua smiled, thinking of the beautiful days they would have in the future. He could not help but feel excited. He could not wait to leave. He wished that the moon would rise up soon. The night fell. After they had dinner, Zhu Tianhua carried Mu Qing on his back. He threw away all the baggage and left. Chapter 529. Lung Tao stood in front of the three grandmasters and stared at Zhu Tianhua. He shook his head and sighed. Elder Zhu, where are you going? Zhu Tianhua closed-fist saluted. Imperial Crown Prince, I'm leaving. Where are you going? Lung Tao scoffed. Don't tell me you're going to the imperial residence of Princeton. Zhu Tianhua shook his head. I'm not that despicable. Although this place is good, it's not a place for me to stay. My wife and I are looking for a beautiful place to live in seclusion and live a peaceful life. Hee, you sure have a good plan. Lung Tao said coldly, You come and go as you please. What kind of place do you think the imperial residence is? Imperial Crown Prince, didn't we agree on this before? Zhu Tianhua frowned. I'm free to come and go. I can leave whenever I've had enough. Are you going to go back on your words? I didn't say that. Lung Tao waved his hand. You can't leave. Zhu Tianhua said lightly, Imperial Crown Prince is eyeing my wife. I have to leave, or else I'm not a man. Bullsh *T. Lung Tao hurriedly shouted and said guiltily, When did I cast covetous eyes on Miss Mu Qing? I just like her because of her beauty. I have no intention of profaning her. Don't measure the heart of a gentleman with your own mean measure. Mu Qing laid on Zhu Tianhua's broad and majestic back. She felt extremely safe and was wrapped in warmth. Even though she was in a bad situation, her heart was still peaceful. Zhu Tianhua shook his head. I came to the fairy's capital to save my wife. Now that I've saved her, it's time to leave. You can leave if you want. What about the secret of the imperial residence? Lung Tao scoffed. You go back now and continue to be a protector. We'll pretend nothing happened. Or else, today will be the day you die. Zhu Tianhua frowned. Imperial Crown Prince, why do you have to go this far? Lung Tao squinted his small eyes and laughed coldly. Who asked you to be so ignorant? Furthermore, I think you've climbed up a high branch and got recruited by Chu Li. Zhu Tianhua shook his head. Imperial Crown Prince, if you wish to pin a crime on someone, you can always find a way to do so. Between the imperial residence of King and the imperial residence of King Cheng, it's obvious which is stronger and which is weaker. How can I leave the imperial residence of King Cheng just because of the imperial residence of King and Imperial Crown Prince's words are too ridiculous. I will ask you one last time. Considering that we are master and servant, I will ask you one last time. Lung Tao straightened his stomach and said in a deep voice, Are you coming back or not? Zhu Tianhua said lightly, There's no turning back after a shot is fired. I've already made up my mind. I hope the Crown Prince can grant my wish. Lung Tao shook his head, revealing a look of grief and indignation. I knew it. You must have been bribed by Chu Li. Since Chu Li helped you redeem Miss Mu Qing, you must be grateful and want to repay him. If that's the case, we can only fight to the death. Men kill him. Yes. The three grandmasters rushed towards Zhu Tianhua. Zhu Tianhua snorted angrily. His majestic body suddenly grew bigger, and he charged forward. Bam, 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 bam. Amidst four muffled sounds, Zhu Tianhua was hit by a palm, but he still rushed out. His speed was as fast as lightning, and the three of them actually couldn't catch up. Lung Tao shouted, Elder Chen, don't let him go. Don't worry, the Crown Prince. I won't be able to leave. Chun Kong appeared not far away from Zhu Tianhua. He shook his head and sighed. Young people are fickle. Staying in the imperial residence and enjoying the glory and splendor is such a happy thing. Why do you have to walk down the path of death? I don't want to live like this. Elder Chen, don't force me. Zhu Tianhua gritted his teeth. He tried his best to control the surging inner energy so that he would not explode. Chun Kong shook his head and sighed. Sigh, forget it. Everyone has their own aspirations. I'll send you all to the next world. After he finished speaking, he instantly appeared in front of Zhu Tianhua like a wisp of smoke and pressed his palm down. If it was any other time, Zhu Tianhua would not be able to react in time. Chun Kong's body movement technique was too fast. However, this time, he activated his secret skill, and his movements were 3 times faster than usual. His fan-like palm met Chun Kong's. Bam! A muffled sound was heard. Chun Kong took a slight step back and rushed forward again with another palm. Bam, 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 bam. The two of them continuously exchanged more than 10 palms. It was hard to determine the winner. Zhu Tianhua was a little anxious. If this continued, he would not be able to escape. Thinking about this, he crossed his arms in front of his chest. A surge of inner energy gathered in his chest. Then he separated his arms as if he was holding a hammer in each hand and swung it towards Chun Kong. Bam! Chun Kong was sent flying. He widened his eyes in surprise. He did not expect Zhu Tianhua to have such a strange skill. It was as if he was hit by a hammer. He could not help but retreat. At this time, for grandmasters rushed over from afar. Zhu Tianhua looked at the grandmasters that were gathering. He felt a little hopeless. He whispered, "My wife, I'm afraid we won't be able to escape." Mu Qing laid on his back and whispered, "Big brother, if you abandon me, can you escape?" "I can't," Zhu Tianhua said. "They have too many masters." "Then let us be a pair of mandarin ducks. We'll be husband and wife in our next life." Mu Qing whispered, "I'm very satisfied to be able to die in Big Brother Zhu's arms." "Sigh, it's all my fault." Zhu Tianhua suddenly hated himself. He must have been blind to have trusted Lung Tao. When Chu Li recruited him, why did he not agree? He should have agreed, even if it was for Mu Qing's sake. Or he should not have brought Mu Qing back. He should have left the fairies' capital. The world was so big. He and Mu Qing could hide in a deep forest. He did not believe that Lung Tao and the others would be able to find him. Mu Qing said softly, "It's not Big Brother Zhu's fault. It's me. Without me, Big Brother would still be living well and carefree. Without you, there's no meaning in my life." Zhu Tianhua sighed. The two of them spoke softly. The grandmasters had already surrounded them. They stared at him like a tiger watching its prey. They felt pity for Mu Qing. "Don't hurt the lady," Lung Tao said hurriedly. Chun Kong frowned and looked at Lung Tao. "Imperial Crown Prince, please step aside. Don't get in the way of the others." "Elder Chun, don't hurt the lady. I like her," Lung Tao said hurriedly. Chun Kong disliked him more and more. He faintly felt that it was Lung Tao's fault that Zhu Tianhua wanted to leave the imperial residence. How could he stay if he liked someone else's woman? But now that things had come to this, there was no room for retreat. They could only kill Zhu Tianhua. After all, they had already offended him. If they let him escape, it would be putting the imperial residence of King Cheng in danger. Chun Kong pulled Lung Tao away and said, "Kill the two of them. Do it." The four of them immediately pounced towards Zhu Tianhua. Their fist force and palm wind were swift and fierce. When combined together, they formed a powerful force like a flood. No matter how high his cultivation level was, he could not withstand it. He was about to be heavily injured. His body was violently pulled. His vision blurred. He appeared on the roof about 20 steps away. Chu Li stood beside him in his white robe. Chu Li closed fist saluted and smiled. "Elder Chen, I'm sorry. I want this person. I'll pay you a visit another day to apologize. Goodbye." As soon as he finished speaking, he pulled Zhu Tianhua. Like a stream of light, they flew across the night sky and disappeared instantly. "Ah, Chu Li," Lung Tao shouted angrily. Chun Kong's face darkened. He stared at him coldly. Lung Tao shouted, "Elder Chen, are you going to let Chu Li be so arrogant and scrupulous? What do you want?" Chun Kong laughed coldly. "Are you going to chase after him? Then barge into the imperial residence of King and kill Zhu Tianhua." Chapter 530. "Shut up." Chun Kong glared at him fiercely. "It's all your fault. You forced a master to leave." "Elder Chen, I'm innocent." Lung Tao was unconvinced. He has been flirting with Chu Li for a long time. Otherwise, why would Chu Li appear so coincidentally? Chun Kong scoffed. He has been eyeing him for a long time. "It was you who gave Chu Li the opportunity to enter." "Really?" As he said this, he shook his head and stopped talking. He really did not know what to say. Such an idiot. If he was not the only son of the Royal Highness, Chun Kong would have thrown him aside and let him fend for himself. He was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. Chu Li pulled Zhu Tianhua back to the courtyard where Mu Qing used to live. Zhu Tianhua saw the courtyard and immediately frowned at Chu Li. Chu Li let go of them and sat in front of the stone table. He smiled and said, "You met the wrong person. yet you are still so loyal. This is the end. Humph, why did you bring us here? Zhu Tianhua scoffed. Chu Li laughed. Shouldn't you first thank me for saving your life? Isn't it all your fault? Zhu Tianhua scoffed. He now understood that he had fallen into Chu Li's trap step by step. Although he knew about this trap, he could only step into it step by step. He always felt wronged, as if he had become a puppet, walking according to Chu Li's plan. Chu Li said, "If that's the case, you want to leave?" "Yes, I want to live a peaceful life. I want to find a beautiful place to live peacefully." Zhu Tianhua said, "I don't want to fight anymore," he said as he looked at Mu Qing. He knew that Mu Qing did not like to fight. She yearned for a peaceful life, reading, cooking, peaceful, and carefree. Chu Li laughed and shook his head. "You are too naive to want to live that kind of life. Not to mention the fact that you have wasted all your knowledge. More importantly, you know how weak a person's power is, even if you are a grandmaster. I can protect my wife. That might not be the case." Chu Li shook his head. What if something like this happens again? What if some powerful person takes a liking to Miss Mu Qing and brings a few grandmasters over? What can you do? Zhu Tianhua suddenly became silent. He had experienced that feeling of powerlessness, and he hated this feeling the most. As a man, and a grandmaster at that, if he could not protect his own woman, he would be too ashamed to live in this world. Chu Li pointed at himself and said, "Look at me. My martial arts should be strong enough, right? Moreover, my lightness skill is even better. I can leave whenever I want. No one can stop me. Why should I run around in the prince's mansion and fairy's capital, chasing after power?" Zhu Tianhua furrowed his brows and looked at him. Indeed, he had the same thought. Chu Li could totally live a carefree life. Why would he bother to scheme against others? Chu Li said, "That's because I know that I can't rely on my own strength. Unless I step into the enlightened mastery's boundary, no matter how strong a grandmaster is, he is still weak. I need power. I need companions. I need more power. Only then can I truly protect the people I cherish." Zhu Tianhua sighed. He actually felt that Chu Li's words made sense. If it was in the past, he would have scoffed at it. Now that he had Mu Qing, and after the previous setback, he could not help but agree with Chu Li's words. If you want to live in seclusion in a beautiful place, you will have to take the risk of being bullied and humiliated one day. Chu Li said, "If you stay in the imperial residence and become a protector of the imperial residence, you will no longer be alone. No matter what danger you face, no matter what enemies you have, there will be people around you to help you. I don't trust people like you. You fall out with me, like flipping a book." Zhu Tianhua said. Chu Li smiled and said, "You have the nerve to say that? Aren't you the same as flipping a book? I helped you redeem your wife, but how did you repay me? I saved you, but you feel that I owe you. Sigh, looks like I can't be a good person." After being said that, Zhu Tianhua felt embarrassed. Back then, he had indeed done something wrong. He didn't even say thank you, and instead, he snatched Mu Qing and ran away. "I need to discuss this with my wife," Zhu Tianhua said in a low voice. Mu Qing leaned on his back and whispered, "I'll leave everything to you, big brother." Zhu Tianhua looked at Chu Li and scoffed. "All right, from today onwards, I will be your protector. Let me make this clear. I am only your protector and not from the imperial residence. I really don't trust these people." Chu Li said, "I also have to make this clear. My rules are very strict. If you break them, don't blame me for being ruthless. Since my life was saved by you, do as you please." Zhu Tianhua scoffed. Chu Li nodded in satisfaction. "That's good. Stay here, and the courtyard will belong to you. Take care of your body, and we will start tomorrow." Zhu Tianhua, closed fist saluted. Chu Li nodded at Mu Qing and turned to leave the courtyard. Mu Qing got down from his back and walked one round in the courtyard. She felt a sense of familiarity. She caressed a green bamboo and sighed faintly. She said softly, "It feels like a dream." Zhu Tianhua said gently, "My wife, you won't blame me for doing this, right?" Mu Qing shook her head and smiled. "This is good too." Zhu Tianhua sighed. "I still can't live a peaceful life. This is already very stable." Mu Qing quickly stopped him and said gently, "Being a protector of the imperial residence is not that dangerous. Staying in the imperial residence is also peaceful. As long as I can stay by Brother Zhu's side, anywhere is fine." Zhu Tianhua smiled. He was most afraid that Mu Qing would be dissatisfied. When she said that, he let out a long sigh of relief. "I don't know what exactly he wants to do," Zhu Tianhua said. Mu Qing smiled. "Maybe he wants to be a protector, to stay by his side." Zhu Tianhua nodded slowly. The next morning, he was cultivating. Mu Qing was beside him with a towel and boiling tea. She would serve the towel and teacup at any time. He was cultivating enthusiastically. He felt that this was how he truly lived. Lu Xing's voice came from outside the courtyard. "Brother Zhu, the head chief is calling." "I will be there soon," Zhu Tianhua said. Lu Xing said, "The head chief is calling. We need to leave immediately. Let's go." "I need to change my clothes," Zhu Tianhua said. "Then hurry up," Lu Xing said. As Zhu Tianhua spoke, Mu Qing had already passed him the clothes. Zhu Tianhua quickly changed and pushed the door open. Lu Xing was waiting outside the courtyard. Lu Xing looked at him. "Let's go." Zhu Tianhua nodded and followed him to the outside of Tianshu courtyard. "Princess, head chief, Zhu Tianhua is here." Lu Xing raised his voice and said, "Come in," Chu Li said. Zhu Tianhua stepped into Tianshu courtyard. Instantly, a few bright eyes fell on him. Zhu Tianhua felt his face heating up. He could not help but want to lower his head. Then he remembered that he was a grandmaster, and there was nothing to be afraid of. He raised his head and met the bright eyes. He saw Princess Xiao sitting on the north side. On her left and right sat two beautiful ladies, followed by the maids. Chu Li stood beside Princess Xiao and looked at him without saying a word. "Princess, head chief," he closed fist saluted and said in a deep voice. Xiao sure looked at him and pursed her lips into a smile. "This is the protector that you used a little trick to bring back." Chapter 5:31. "That's rare. No wonder you put in so much effort." Xiao sure nodded. Her eyes were clear as water as she looked at Zhu Tianhua. Zhu Tianhua did not move. As for Chu Li's little trick, he was shocked after thinking about it. As expected of the famous head chief Chu in the fairy's capital, he had good tricks. Every step was within his calculations. What was more frightening was that even though he knew it was his plan, he could only follow it. He had no other choice. He was no different from a child in front of him. Chu Li said, "From now on, let him protect Lady Xiao with Lu Xing and the others. If an assassin comes, he can block them." "All right," Xiao nodded. "You can arrange it." Chu Li turned to look at Song Luiying and Xuan Yu. "What do the two princesses think?" "Very good." The two nodded. Chu Li looked at Zhu Tianhua. "From today onwards, you will take turns with Lu Xing and the others to protect the princess." "Yes," Zhu Tianhua said. Chu Li said, "Don't think that protecting the princess is an easy job. It is the most dangerous job in the imperial residence. The princess' identity is special. There are too many assassins who want to kill her. Stay alert. If anything happens, you won't be able to live." "Yes," Zhu Tianhua nodded slowly. His face was solemn, but he was excited. Such a beautiful woman. Guarding by his side was a delightful thing. It was a great job. As for the danger, it was not. He was not the only protector. Head Chief, someone sent an invitation. Chief Zhu's voice came from outside. Bring it over, Chu Li said. Yang Su went out gracefully and quickly returned with an invitation for Chu Li. Chu Li opened it, and a smile appeared on his face. Which one? Xiao asked. Brother Han Fei. Chu Li smiled. He finally came to the fairy's capital. I have to meet him. I won't be back tonight. Go. Xiao waved her hand. Let him stay in the imperial residence. That's not necessary. Chu Li said, he doesn't like staying here. It's restricted. Then let him be. Xiao said, oh, right, you guys aren't going to the Verdant Cloud brothel, right? Chu Li smiled. Xiao scoffed. Lecherous. None of them are good. Chu Li glanced at Zhu Tianhua. Zhu Tianhua's huge body slowly retreated out of the small courtyard. Lu Xing received him and led him to a small courtyard at the side. He said in a low voice, there are 4 courtyards around Tianshu Courtyard. This is one of them. We usually stay here and keep an eye on the movements over there. Not directly in the princess's courtyard. The princess doesn't like to have men by her side. It's an eyesore. It's fine during normal times, but she has to be alert at night. Lu Xing said, we're separated by a wall. If there's any movement, she can hear it. Zhu Tianhua was a little disappointed. It was a pity that he could not keep looking at Xiao. Chu Li crossed a street alone and arrived in front of a house. This house looked ordinary from the outside. It was the most ordinary house in the divine capital city, and it was where the average family lived. There were 2 strings of red lanterns hanging at the entrance of the courtyard. At this time, dusk was just approaching, and the red lanterns were already lit up. 2 young guards stood at the gate with sabers hanging from their waists. Their auras were dignified. One look, and anyone could tell that they were experts. Both of them stared at Chu Li. Chu Li nodded slightly and knocked on the door. A white-haired old man opened the side door. What's the matter, young master? Chu Li handed over the invitation. The old man looked at the invitation and said respectfully, young master, please enter. He opened the door and invited Chu Li in. Please follow this old man. The Bai Lan courtyard is in the east. Chu Li nodded. Who would have thought that the number 1 brothel in the divine capital was not a towering building, but such an ordinary courtyard? After entering the courtyard, there was a living room. After going around the living room, there were layers upon layers of courtyards. Every courtyard was an independent courtyard. Standing outside the courtyard, one could not see the situation in the courtyard. Some courtyard doors were closed, and one could only hear the music from inside. Chu Li followed him to the outside of a small courtyard. The old man knocked on the courtyard door. A delicate and pretty maid opened the courtyard door and invited Chu Li in. Young master, do you want to change your clothes first? The maid asked. Chu Li shook his head. There's no need. Is my friend here? Yes, young Master Han has been waiting for a long time. The maid answered. Chu Li said, go in. The maid brought him inside. They passed through an outer courtyard and a moon gate before finally arriving at the inner courtyard. Han Fei came out of the house. He was still handsome and in high spirits. Ha, Brother Chu, you're late. Chu Li looked up at the sky. I'm not late. Come, let's talk inside. He smiled. Beside him stood a gentle and beautiful woman. She was delicate, causing others to feel pity for her. She smiled and curtsied. Bai Lan greets Head Chief Chu. Chu Li waved his hand. There's no need for that. Go in and take a seat. The 4 of them entered the living room. There were already a few side dishes on the square table. Silver cups were placed on the table, and there was a jade wine pot next to it. I was waiting for you. Han Fei laughed. He and Chu Li sat down. Chu Li said, Brother Han, you're late. You're 10 days late. I've been touring the mountains and rivers. How can I be fast? They like mountains and rivers. I can only let them be. Han Fei shook his head and smiled. Chu Li laughed. How is Lady Jiang? When Han Fei heard this, he immediately glared at him. You're purposely making me unhappy. Chu Li quickly smiled and drank a cup of wine as an apology. I invited you here today because there's something important. Han Fei smiled. Chu Li listened attentively. Han Fei said, You know about the full Cloud camp being annihilated, right? Chu Li nodded. I've already sent someone to investigate. It's hard to say if it's a strong and overbearing finger force. Bai Lan stretched out her hand and gently poured wine for the two of them. She sat beside Han Fei without saying a word. She was as gentle as water. Han Fei said, I know some news. Chu Li was stunned. He put down the silver cup and smiled. The full Cloud camp was annihilated. You know the news? Yes, Han Fei smiled. Do you want to hear it? Don't keep me in suspense. Hurry up. Chu Li leaned forward. Han Fei picked up the silver cup and drank it in one gulp. He smiled. How is Lady Bai Lan? She's a good lady, Chu Li answered without hesitation. Han Fei said, Then help her redeem her freedom. Chu Li was stunned and looked at Bai Lan. Bai Lan lowered her head. Her face was flushed and her neck was flushed. What are you looking at? Han Fei smiled. Brother Chu, can you do it? Chu Li smiled bitterly. This is Prince Bao's property. You, Head Chief Chu, are famous in the fairies' capital. You're resourceful. Can't you do it? Han Fei smiled. Chu Li sighed. Why didn't you say so earlier? I just redeemed a lady. Prince Bao has already returned my favor. All right, I'll think of an idea. Good. You're straightforward. Han Fei smiled. Then I'll tell you a big news. Chu Li leaned forward. Han Fei said, The one who annihilated the full Cloud camp was a disciple of the Tempest Temple. Chu Li frowned and pondered. Han Fei said, You don't believe me? Chu Li shook his head. The Tempest Temple's martial arts are powerful, but it's easy to have problems. It's not surprising that something like this happened. I also know that this guy cultivated the Azura power technique, Han Fei said. Chu Li's expression changed slightly. Chapter 532. Chu Li frowned. Azura power technique. Yes. Han Fei nodded. Azura power technique. Chu Li asked, Hasn't the Tempest Temple been sealed off? As far as I know, the Tempest Temple has indeed banned this technique, but there are always people who can find a loophole. Han Fei shook his head and sighed. The Azura power technique is meant for humans to cultivate. Whoever cultivates, it will die. Chu Li remained silent. Han Fei said, If you have subordinates investigating him, you'd better tell them to be careful. Those who have cultivated the Azura power technique can kill people like drinking water. Chu Li nodded slowly. Bai Lan quietly poured wine into the silver cup. She did not say a word, as if she was invisible. Han Fei asked, How's it going in the secret guardians' hall? Chu Li smiled. Outsiders might think that it's very mysterious, but it's actually no different from the governor's residence. It's just that some of the secret guardians' hall's methods are more secretive. That's all. I can't drink this wine today. I have to go and take a look. What's the hurry? Han Fei said, It's not a big deal. Chu Li shook his head and said, My subordinates are currently investigating this person. If we run into him, I'm afraid he'll be in trouble. We have to hurry and take a look. Han Fei said, Don't worry about Bailan. I'm waiting. Chu Li nodded. I know. I'll settle it for you as soon as possible. That's good. Go ahead. I won't see you out. Han Fei waved his hand. Chu Li gave Bai Lan a fist salute and turned to leave. Bai Lan pursed her lips and smiled. I didn't expect young master to be friends with the head chief. Han Fei smiled and said, We've been through life and death together. He's easy to talk to. Don't worry, as long as he agrees, he'll definitely do it. Wait to redeem yourself. Do you want to follow me to the Jiang Chuan Alliance or stay in the fairy's capital? I want to stay in the fairy's capital, Bai Lan said softly. I'm not used to going too far. That's good too. I spend half of the year here. It's good that you're here with me. Han Fei smiled. When I'm not here, Chu Li can take care of you. Thank you, young Master Han, Bai Lan said. Han Fei laughed and hugged her, smelling the fragrance on her body. In a flash, Chu Li appeared in the vast pine forest. He used the all-seeing heaven and earth divine ability to sense their location and directly came over. The omniscient mirror saw the Ning brothers, Dong Qifei, and Yang Zongwen. They were running for their lives in a sorry state. 100 meters behind them was a middle-aged man in a yellow robe. He was thin and had an otherworldly aura. The Ning brothers were the ones with better lightness skills. One of them was fat, and the other was fat, but when they used their qing gong, they were like flying rubber balls, agile and swift. If not for the fact that each of them was carrying a person, they might have already shaken off the yellow-robed, middle-aged man's chase. One of them was carrying Dong Qifei, and the other was Yang Zongwen. They looked helplessly at the yellow-robed, middle-aged man, who was getting closer and closer. Brother Ning, put me down, Dong Qifei shouted. All of you go first. Let the centurion avenge me. I can't abandon you, Ning Buiyuan said in a deep voice. He was a little fat man, carrying Dong Qifei. He moved quickly against the treetops. The two of them together weighed more than 400 pounds. The pine tree branch only swayed a little, but it did not bend under the weight. It could be seen that his qinggong was outstanding. The big fat Ning Zhongyuan also said, If we abandon you, we won't be able to forgive ourselves. Don't talk, circulate your energy. We'll kill him later. We can't kill him, Yang Zongwen sighed. Where did such a killer come from? They saw with their own eyes that the yellow-robed middle-aged man killed more than 10 martial arts masters in one go. When they thought of the centurion's order, they turned around and ran. They did not expect that they would still be caught. This yellow-robed, middle-aged man killed all the martial arts masters and then chased after them with ease. It was obvious that he did not plan to let any of them go. Such a cold-blooded way of killing made their hearts turn cold. It was as if killing was a kind of enjoyment that should be enjoyed slowly. It was indescribably eerie and scary, even though this yellow-robed middle-aged man had an otherworldly aura like a deity. I don't recognize it, Ning Buiyuan said loudly. This way of killing, it's definitely from a famous faction. We're going to die anyway. You guys should go first, Dong Qifei shouted. You guys will die for nothing even if you accompany us. It's not worth it. Hurry up and find the centurion. Let him avenge us. No, Zhang Buiyuan shook his head. Chu Li suddenly appeared in front of the yellow-robed middle-aged man and attacked with the Shura palm. The yellow-robed middle-aged man smiled and pressed his palm down lightly. Bang! Chu Li felt an extremely pure force entering his body. The heavenly demonic orb suddenly came out and devoured the inner energy. Chu Li was surprised. He did not expect this guy's inner energy to be so pure it was comparable to the heaven's thunder palm. He had never cultivated the Azura power technique before, but he always thought that it was the coldest and most in. How could this guy's palm energy be the strongest and most young? He speculated that the yellow-robed young man's Azura power technique was at a higher level. Extreme Een gave birth to Yang, and the coldest Een palm energy turned into the strongest Yang. Who are you? Chuli asked in a deep voice. The yellow-robed middle-aged man smiled. You don't know who I am, but you want to fight me? Chuli stared at him. There was no sign of him going berserk. His mind was normal, and his eyes were clear. It was hard to imagine that he was the one who killed everyone in the village. He did not even let a dog go. Tempest Temple? Chuli asked in a deep voice. The yellow-robed middle-aged man nodded. You recognize me? Chuli said, Azura power technique. That's right. The yellow-robed middle-aged man sighed and shook his head. You know too much. You can't live, just die. Chuli said, the Azura power technique is very murderous. You can't suppress it anymore, right? Yes, the yellow-robed middle-aged man said. If that's the case, you also know about the Azura power technique. Chuli frowned. Didn't the Tempest Temple ban the Azura power technique? How can you cultivate it? The yellow-robed middle-aged man shook his head. That's a secret. All right, I'll send you on your way. As soon as he finished speaking, he struck with his palm as fast as a ghost. Chuli waved his hand. You guys go back first. Ning Buyuan and the other three looked at each other and finally nodded. They believed in Chu Li's light body technique. Bam, 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 bam. Chu Li and the yellow-robed middle-aged man's palms kept hitting each other. Chu Li used the Shura palm, which was fast and slow at times, as fast as lightning. The yellow-robed middle-aged man also used the Shura palm, which was more powerful than Chu Li. His energy was more refined. It was obvious that he had been cultivating it for a long time. Who are you? The yellow-robed middle-aged man asked while fighting. Why do you know the Shura palm as well? Chuli said, Chuli, so it's you? The yellow-robed middle-aged man said, No wonder. Amit Buddha. A Buddha's name suddenly rang out from afar. When the word I was said, it was still far away in the horizon. When the word Buddha was said, it was already near. Fa Yuan and the three gray-robed monks had arrived. Chuli looked at him helplessly. Fa Yuan, it's you again. Fa Yuan wanted to say the same thing too, so he pressed his palms together and bowed. Almsgiver Chu, we meet again. Chuli scoffed. The Tempest Temple always has this kind of thing going on. Last time, it was eating human brains. This time, it's the Azura power technique. Fa Yuan pressed his palms together and bowed. Thank you, Almsgiver Chu. Why are you thanking me? Chuli scoffed. The yellow-robed middle-aged man did not care about their appearance. He only fought with Chuli as if he had obsessive-compulsive disorder and wanted to kill Chuli no matter what. Chapter 533. P.S. The recommendation vote on Monday is the most important and is very much needed. Chuli said as he fought with the man in yellow, didn't the Tempest Temple seal the Azura power technique? How can someone still cultivate it? And to such a high level? This almsgiver Zhou is related to the temple, but he is not a disciple of the temple, Fa Yuan said. Chuli raised his eyebrows. Not a disciple of the Tempest Temple? No, Fa Yuan said gently. A monk does not lie. Then, how did he obtain the Azura power technique? Chuli frowned. From what I know, only the Tempest Temple and the Imperial House have the inheritance of the Azura power technique, right? Yes, Fa Yuan nodded. Chuli said, Fa Yuan, be more straightforward with your words. Tell me, how did he obtain the inheritance? Did someone in the temple leak it? Fa Yuan shook his head. Chuli glared at him. If you continue to be so secretive, don't blame me for not helping you in the future. Almsgiver Chu, actually you can think of it, Fa Yuan said. Chu Li frowned. Could it be the heart of Azura? He obtained the inheritance of the Shura palm from the heart of Azura. It was not impossible for others to obtain the inheritance of the Azura power technique. Yes, the heart of Azura contains the inheritance. If it is by chance, it is possible to obtain the inheritance and even cultivate to a very high level, like this almsgiver Zhou. Fa Yuan sighed. This is also a way to die. Chu Li sighed. Without a strong foundation of Buddhism, obtaining the Azura power technique is no different from suicide, and one will soon become the master of killing, crazily massacring the world. This is the sin of the Tempest Temple. Amitabha Buddha, Fa Yuan chanted the name of Buddha. He could not deny this. There were countless innocent people who died because of the Azura power technique. It was a pity that he could not research the method of suppressing the Azura power technique. It was a pity that this antique study could not be turned into a Buddhist protective divine technique. Chu Li said, "How do you plan to deal with him?" His Azura power technique is quite profound. We can't kill him even if we want to. We have to suppress him in the temple to prevent him from continuing to do evil. Fa Yuan sighed. It can't be killed. Chu Li frowned. Fa Yuan replied, "Yes." Chu Li could not help but laugh. How is that possible? There's no such thing as an immortal body. Let's see if you can survive by chopping off your head. Almsgiver Chu, if the head is cut off, this body will die. Fa Yuan shook his head. He has already condensed the heart of Azura, but he can be reborn elsewhere. Why are you giving birth elsewhere? Chu Li frowned. The yellow-robed, middle-aged man continued to attack madly, his attacks becoming more and more ferocious. Fa Yuan said, "This involves the greatest secret of the 4 major sections. Forgive me for not being able to say more." "You're such a troublesome monk." Chu Li shook his head and said, "Why can't I say it? To avoid shocking the world, it's better not to say it." Fa Yuan smiled. "All right then, how do I kill him?" Chu Li asked. "There must be a way." Fa Yuan said, "Only the Azura power technique can kill him." Chu Li scoffed. The Tempest Temple should have someone who cultivates the Azura power technique, right? He did not believe that the Tempest Temple had really sealed the Azura power technique. As he got to know them better, he realized the ins and outs of the Tempest Temple. They looked like a group of high monks with deep knowledge of Buddhism, but they were actually like mad scientists from the future. For the sake of researching martial arts, they would do anything. Fa Yuan was silent. Chu Li scoffed. "Just look for the person who cultivates the Azura power technique and get rid of him." "Why are you bringing him back?" "Oh, I understand now. You want to try to enlighten him, right?" Fa Yuan said. "Almsgiver Chu, why must you force me?" Chu Li shook his head. "Right, the heart of Azura was spread by the Tempest Temple, right?" "Yes." Fa Yuan slowly nodded. Suddenly, Dong Qifei's voice came from afar. "Centurion, that guy killed 2 people from the Secret Guardians Hall." Chu Li's expression instantly changed. Fa Yuan also frowned. The atmosphere between the 2 of them suddenly became tense. Fa Yuan had interacted with Chu Li a few times. He understood Chu Li and knew that he was a very protective person. If he said that, Chu Li would probably not let him go. "Fa Yuan, did you hear that?" Chu Li shook his head. "It's not that I'm not flexible. It's just that the situation dictates it. I want this person. Almsgiver Chu, can you take down Almsgiver Zhou?" Fa Yuan said calmly. "I'm afraid you can't do it alone." "That's not necessarily true." Chu Li said, "If the Tempest Temple doesn't play any tricks, I can take him down." "Amitabha Buddha," Fa Yuan chanted, and slowly said, "This is a criminal that the temple wants to take down. We can't let him kill anymore. Forgive me for not being able to promise almsgiver Chu. All right then, goodbye. Chu Li turned around and left. His body technique was extremely fast. He floated up like a cloud, but in the blink of an eye, he was far away, almost disappearing from sight. The yellow-robed middle-aged man was bent on killing him and chased after him. His light body technique was superb. In a moment, they had already disappeared in front of F.A. Yuan and the others. F.A. Yuan pressed his palms together and smiled. He was going to fight with almsgiver Chu again. His calm heart was filled with a sense of excitement. Every time he fought with Chu Li, he would gain something new. He could feel that Chu Li had suddenly improved, and it was the same for him. Every time they fought, he would have a huge improvement. Brothers, let's go. F.A. Yuan pressed his palms together and said. The three monks were like statues. They did not say a word and only pressed their palms together. Then they silently flew away with F.A. Yuan. Chu Li was like a cloud as the yellow-robed, middle-aged man chased after him. Chu Li planned to use his old method. He would first wear down the yellow-robed, middle-aged man. Then it would be much easier to fight him. The speed of the two became faster and faster. They were like two shadows passing through the forest, over the mountain peaks, and across the river. They ran from evening to morning. They ran for an entire night. The yellow-robed middle-aged man was determined to kill him and chased after him. His cultivation level was high too. He did not feel short of breath even after chasing for an entire night. Chu Li stopped at a mountain peak with pine trees. The spiritual energy here was especially abundant. It was the most suitable place for him to replenish his inner energy. Your surname is Zhou. Chu Li and the yellow-robed middle-aged man fought fiercely on top of a pine tree. Their feet moved as if they were walking on flat ground. Both of them were using the Shura palm. Chu Li talked as he fought, as if he was chatting with friends. The yellow-robed middle-aged man said lightly, Zhou Lingfeng, you're clearly conscious, but you can't restrain yourself from killing. Why should I restrain myself? Zhou Lingfeng said lightly, life and death are natural laws. Those who died were just God using my hand to reclaim their lives. Life and death are decreed by fate. Wealth and honor are determined by God. He. Chu Li laughed. Looks like you really came from the Tempest Temple. This was a typical overbearing concept of the Tempest Temple. Zhou Lingfeng said, my father is a disciple of the Tempest Temple. Oh. Chu Li raised his eyebrows. Looks like you've returned to normal life. Chapter 5:34. That's interesting. Chu Li shook his head and smiled. The disciples of the Tempest Temple can also return to normal life. There are many disciples from the Tempest Temple who have returned to normal life. Zhou Lingfeng said, but not many people know about it. Chu Li raised his eyebrows and thought about it. He immediately thought of something. If the disciples of the Tempest Temple could return to normal life and no one knew about it, how scary would that be? These disciples were their eyes and ears all over the world. They might be even more powerful than the Secret Guardian's Hall. Zhou Lingfeng said, you also cultivated the Azura power technique. Chu Li said, it's just the Shura palm. Zhou Lingfeng said, I can feel your scent. You must know about the Azura power technique. You're mistaken. Chu Li said. He could see Zhou Lingfeng's Azura power technique, heart technique. When he used the Shura palm, he unconsciously adjusted it. He used the route of the Azura power technique, but it was not the real Azura power technique. It only had the form, but not the essence. But even so, the power of the Shura palm had greatly increased. As he fought with Zhou Lingfeng, the power of the Shura palm increased. Zhou Lingfeng said, there is a big secret to the Azura power technique that I have never told anyone. Chu Li said, "What secret?" "The Azura power technique increases by killing people." Zhou Lingfeng said, "Every time I kill someone, the Azura power technique increases a little. The more I kill, the more it increases. When I kill more than 10,000 people, I will be able to cultivate the 7th level of the Azura power technique. When that time comes, no one will be able to stop me." Chu Li frowned. "You don't even think about those innocent people. They are just passers-by in the mortal world. They come and go in a hurry. There is nothing to feel sorry about." Zhou Lingfeng shook his head. "The world is an illusion. The cycle of reincarnation is endless. Sending them into reincarnation and away from this world is also a good thing." Chu Li sighed helplessly. He was indeed a madman. He was calm and rational, but he had his own set of strange ideas. He did not think that he was evil. Instead, he thought that he was above the mortal world and was as merciful as the Buddha. "Looks like I have to kill you." Chu Li shook his head and sighed. The heavenly demonic orb instantly fell into his precordium. Boundless energy flowed through his body, through his blood, and all his senses were heightened. His strength and speed had skyrocketed, and the power of his Shura palm had doubled. Bam, 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 bam. In one breath, more than 10 palms landed on Zhou Lingfeng's chest. Zhou Lingfeng was like a rag doll being beaten up by him. From the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain, Zhou Lingfeng kept flying around in the air, never having a chance to land. "Ah!" Zhou Lingfeng suddenly roared. He instantly grew taller and thinner. His lean facial features seemed to have undergone only a slight change, but they had become hideous and terrifying. Anyone who looked at them would feel a chill run down their spine and go weak. Chu Li did not care and continued to attack with the Shura palm. Bam, 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 bam. Zhou Lingfeng did not care about his attacks at all. Both of them were injured, and Zhou Lingfeng's palms landed on his body. Chu Li felt his muscles suddenly harden, and it became harder for the Shura palm energy to enter them. His inner energy was raging and violent, and it was hard to describe how uncomfortable it was when it landed on Chu Li. He didn't care and just attacked with all his might. The two of them exchanged injuries and fought from the bottom of the mountain to the summit. Chu Li's inner energy was endless, and so was his strength. Zhou Lingfeng's body of Azura was powerful, but his inner energy was limited, and it could not be endless like Chu Li's. The two of them fought for half an hour, and Chu Li felt that he was reaching his limit. The heavenly demonic orb entered his chest, and it lost its ability to devour. It only maintained the strength of his body. Zhou Lingfeng was on the verge of collapse, and his face was pale. Bam! He landed heavily on the ground, and the body of Azura could not be maintained anymore and returned to its original state. Chu Li went forward and sealed all the acupuncture points on his body. He let out a long sigh of relief, and the heavenly demonic orb appeared. His body was like a balloon that was about to explode. Once the heavenly demonic orb appeared, it immediately rotated around his body and devoured all the Shura palm energy that had yet to dissipate. A smile appeared on Chu Li's pale face. The reward this time was even greater, and the 5th level of the heavenly demonic power was within his reach. He looked down at Zhou Lingfeng. It was a pity that he could not let a person like him live, or else there would be endless trouble. If he fought another battle, he might reach the 5th level of the heavenly demonic power. He was about to reach the 5th level of the heavenly demonic power, so it was better to be safe and kill Zhou Lingfeng directly. This made him hesitate. After thinking for a while, he decided to kill Zhou Lingfeng first. If something happened, and Zhou Lingfeng did not die, then there would be endless trouble. As Chu Li thought about this, he began to visualize a giant Azura in his mind. Since he could only use the Azura power technique to kill him, then he would use the Azura power technique. He had never cultivated it, but it did not mean that he did not know how to use it. Amitabha Buddha, a Buddhist chant was heard from afar, and the last word was already in front of him. Fa Yuan and the 3 middle-aged monks floated over. They saw Zhou Lingfeng lying on the ground and revealed a shocked expression. They had experienced Zhou Lingfeng's strength before, and they had fought him twice. They did not expect Chu Li to subdue him. Chu Li's hidden trump card was really powerful. Amitabha Buddha, Fa Yuan praised. Almsgiver Chu has a good cultivation level. Chu Li frowned. Fa Yuan, are you guys trying to take advantage of him? Almsgiver Chu, why don't you hand him over to us and send him to the temple to be suppressed? Fa Yuan said. Chu Li scoffed. Fa Yuan, you know my light body technique. You can't outrun me. Fa Yuan said, what are your conditions, Almsgiver Chu? Chu Li shook his head. He is the murderer of our secret guardian's hall. We must capture him. We will definitely stop Almsgiver Chu, Fa Yuan said. Chu Li said coldly, that will depend on our own abilities. Almsgiver Chu, you must be exhausted now, right? Fa Yuan smiled. How fast and how far can you run? We can sense Almsgiver Zhou. He can't run far. Chu Li said, I will kill him first. Other than the Azura power technique, no one can kill him. Fa Yuan shook his head. His body will die, but it will be reborn soon. How can there be such evil? Chu Li snorted, but he believed that Fa Yuan was not lying. This world was indeed different from his original world. Strange things happened one after another, constantly reshaping his views. Fa Yuan said, Almsgiver Chu, I will bring him away no matter what. Chu Li said, me too. If that's the case, then I can only offend you. Fa Yuan said, as he pointed his finger. He wanted to take advantage of Chu Li's weakness after the battle to snatch him back. Chu Li scoffed, took a step in front of Zhou Lingfeng, picked him up, and left, conveniently avoiding the spear finger strike. The spear finger strike turned in the air, once again chasing after him. Chu Li's body movement technique flashed like a shadow, passing by the 3 middle-aged monks in gray. Just as they were about to make a move, Chu Li was already far away. Chu Li's light body technique was too powerful. The 4 of them could only watch as Chu Li swaggered away. Chapter 5:35. Chu Li carried Zhou Lingfeng and flew away. He felt extreme hunger, and his internal organs felt like they were twisting in pain. He wanted to swallow the entire sky. He looked down at Zhou Lingfeng. He closed his eyes and fainted. His face was as pale as paper, and his thin face looked haggard. He did not look like a cold-blooded person who killed hundreds of people. He shook his head and sighed. You really can't judge a book by its cover. He visualized a gigantic Azura in his mind and activated the Azura heart technique. His inner energy naturally started to change. It was cold with a hint of heat, like ice and fire merging together. He was surprised. He did not expect the Azura power technique inner energy to be so strange. Prince En's cultivation seemed to be different from this. The inner energy flowed along the Shura palm and hit Zhou Lingfeng lightly. Zhou Lingfeng suddenly twisted violently. He instinctively wanted to escape, as if he wanted to wake up. Unfortunately, his acupuncture points were sealed, and he could not escape from Chu Li's Shura palm. He pressed his palm on Zhou Lingfeng's chest. Bang! Zhou Lingfeng suddenly opened his eyes. Chu Li ignored him and hit him again. Bang! Zhou Lingfeng spat out a mouthful of blood and tried to get up. Chu Li resisted his hunger and gathered all the inner energy of the Azura power technique in his palm. He hit him hard. Ah! Zhou Lingfeng suddenly let out a long howl. His body started to grow taller and skinnier. His thin face became ferocious again. The howl was like a cry. It was hair-raising. Chu Li was about to fall and felt dizzy. Chu Li quickly activated the Azura power technique, heart technique, and produced another inner energy. He channeled it into the Shura palm and hit him again. The howl stopped. Zhou Lingfeng slowly fell down. His body was still long and skinny. His face was ferocious. Chu Li let out a long sigh of relief. He was so weak that he almost sat on the ground. He was not tired, but hungry. The endless spiritual energy could not stop and used their long beaks to poke at him. It was curiously as if he was going to be pointed at a tree not far away, and suddenly appeared in front of fruits on the tree. And then he pointed at his mouth. They were overjoyed. Little Crane understood right away and flew over to pluck a fruit, bring him back placing it in his hand. Yes, Chu Li finished it in 2 or 3 bites, saw Zhou wishing he could even swallow even more excited of the fruit in one go. You're not coming with us. This fruit was fragrant. Chu Li shook his head and it said, tasted like if the Tempest Temple finds you, the aroma seemed to be able to perfume one's entire body over to them, filling one's internal organs with fragrance. Yes, wisps of hot air began to float out from his stomach and spread to his entire body. I'll try my best to distract them. The feeling of being drunk was indescribably comfortable, took Zhou making him feel like he was walking on air. Chu Li suddenly disappeared. His original hunger was instantly and appeared at the spirit and he felt 100 in the next more spirited. The two his little body was once again let out a boundless energy and pounced as if he had just had a full day's sleep. Li fell limply to the ground. He looked at the tree in surprise. He didn't expect this small fruit to have such a magical effect. He hadn't paid much attention to them before, thinking that the spirit fruits carried by the spirit cranes were the better ones. He didn't expect that the fruits of this tree wouldn't lose out to the ones carried by the spirit cranes. However, one was lighter, while the other was denser. He guessed that the fruits of this tree were not to the taste of the spirit crane, so the spirit crane did not care about them and picked up a fruit from afar for him. He patted the shoulders of the 2 little cranes and played with them for a while. Then Chu Li ate another fruit. The aroma filled his organs, and his body was filled with energy. Then he disappeared in a flash and appeared behind Ning Buiyuan and the rest. They were running at full speed for fear that someone was following them. The reputation of the Tempest Temple was too frightening. He felt that it would be better for him to return to the fairies' capital before the Tempest Temple did, in case he encountered the disciples of the Tempest Temple. Chu Li smiled and disappeared in a flash. In the main hall of the Secret Guardians' hall, Ma Kuan shouted in dissatisfaction, "Commander, please be the judge. The Ning brothers gave them to Chu Li. Does that mean they belong to him? He can use them however he wants and doesn't need to care about the others in the Secret Guardians' hall?" Fu Mengshan looked down at the dossier and said, "Elder Ma, if it were someone else, the Ning brothers would definitely help. Who asked you to offend Chu Li? This is something that can't be helped. You have to bear the consequences of your own actions." Ma Kuan said, "Commander, I don't want to listen to you. Personal grudges are personal grudges, and official business is official business. How can you disregard official business for personal reasons? Forget it. Fu Mengshan waved his hand and said, "Don't just say such nice things. Didn't you disregard official business for personal reasons?" If you didn't disregard official business for personal reasons, you wouldn't have offended Chu Li. In my opinion, you should just give in to him. He isn't a narrow-minded person who can't tolerate others. Impossible. Ma Kuan straightened his neck and said loudly, "I'm already being lenient by not killing him. Giving in to him will only result in my death." All right, all right, all right. Fu Mengshan raised his head and said, "I'm busy right now. Go do what you need to do. Commander, if you do this, the Ning brothers will become his. Whoever needs them will have to inform him and beg him. It's not appropriate." Ma Kuan said, "The people belong to him. You can discuss with him how to use them." "Oh, right. Do you know about the Full Cloud Camp?" "The Full Cloud Camp was destroyed." Ma Kuan said, "I know. It's just a small mountain camp. It's fine if it's destroyed. My side is more important. They're the constables of the imperial court. They've lost all face. We must catch the culprit. It should be done by the same person." Fu Mengshan frowned and looked at the dossier in his hand. He sighed. "I'm guessing it's the same person. Have you sent people to investigate?" "Yes, I've already sent 2. There's still no news." "I don't think they found anything," Ma Kuan said. "This group of people is troublesome." Fu Mengshan sighed and said, "How are the martial arts of those 2 people? Are they smart?" "Their ability to escape is not bad. At the very least, they won't lose their lives." Ma Kuan smiled. Fu Mengshan nodded in relief. "Don't be careless. They slaughtered an entire mountain camp in one go. Young and old were not spared. This kind of person is too dangerous. You can send people over later." "Yes." Ma Kuan nodded seriously. "If it's the Ning brothers, I'm not worried at all. Their light body technique is good enough. Don't do it in front of me. Spare me. Prepare the oars in order, ready to break the bones, and pull out the E. Send the horses to make trouble. Guambi Imperial Chow. Son, behave yourself. Don't provoke him. This is for your own good." Ma Kuan scoffed and helplessly closed, fist saluted. Coincidentally, at that moment, Liang suddenly came into the hall and handed over a dossier. Fu Mengshan opened it and frowned. Ma Kuan turned to leave. Fu Mengshan said, "Old Ma, there's news." Ma Kuan looked over in confusion. Dong Chi-fei said loudly to boost his courage, "Let me do it." As he said that, he slapped his palm. Bam! He was sent flying. Zhou Lingfeng sat up straight with a whoosh, then leaped up and stood up. His eyes were like lightning as he looked at the 3 of them. His thin face was hideous and terrifying, scaring the 3 of them. Zhou Lingfeng's eyes flashed. He glanced at the 3 of them and immediately pounced on them. "Not good, be careful!" Ning Buiyuan shouted. As he said that, he slapped his palm, and the power of his palms surged. Ning Zhongyuan was telepathically connected with him, so he followed suit and slapped his palm as well. Both of their palm energies merged and surged forward like a flood. Zhou Lingfeng took a step, and his body was out of the range of their palm energies. He took another step and arrived in front of Dong Qifei. His slender right palm was already pressed on his back. Uffed! Dong Qifei flew up into the sky and spat out a high arrow of blood in the air. "Elder Dong!" Yang Zongwen shouted. Zhou Lingfeng's eyes were like lightning. His body was like a ghost. He instantly appeared in front of Yang Zongwen and pressed his palm down. Bam! Ning Buiyuan's chubby palm blocked him. A muffled sound was heard as their palms collided. Ning Buiyuan staggered 2 steps back and almost fell. His chubby face instantly turned red. The inner energy that surged from his palm seemed like it was going to ignite him. His whole body was scorching hot. He felt like even his breath was like fire. Zhou Lingfeng slapped his left palm again. Bam! Ning Zhongyuan's chubby hand blocked in front of Ning Buiyuan's chest. A muffled sound was heard. Ning Zhongyuan staggered 2 steps back. His face was red. Zhou Lingfeng smiled faintly and attacked with his right palm again. Ning Buiyuan did not care about his own discomfort. His chubby hand blocked in front of his brother's chest again. Bam! Ning Buiyuan staggered 2 steps back. He felt annoyed in his chest, and there was a faint taste of blood in his mouth. This guy was even more powerful than before. 2 palms were enough to make him vomit blood. "Leave quickly," Ning Buiyuan shouted. "You bring the 2 of them, and leave quickly." Right after he said that, he pounced on Zhou Lingfeng. However, Zhou Lingfeng shrunk and avoided his palm energy. He went behind Yang Zongwen and hit his back with his palm. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.